thing we need for this show? We did. I mean, I know there's a lot of things, but today I think we might need like a big red buzzer button, just like a burn, like
maybe a gong,
the big buzzer, like we're buzzing in, because I'm feeling a little saucy today.
Okay.
And I want it, like if I'm getting too negative, I wish that you could just be like burn, too negative, burn, too negative.
I think that would just annoy you more, though, is the issue.
Probably. Well, then I'm like Paul Atreides. I'm gonna go through. I will face my irritation. I will let it pass over me, and when I get to the other side, either everybody will be dead, or we'll have the greatest podcast of all time. So
at least it's not a gong.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast. You're RageSelect. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike, and I have gong PTSD.
Do you?
I do, actually.
Oh,
because when I worked at Volusion, the sales team had a giant gong.
Oh no!
And if they got like a really, really big sale, they would hit this gong while I was in the middle of doing support over the phone. And so people would be like, "What the hell was that?" And I was just like, "It was a gong. Don't worry about it, dude."
So this is
it was loud as hell too.
Life philosophy from Jeff is that I think that that QA and developers should work very closely together and not be separated from each other. And I believe that sales and support should be as far away from each other as humanly possible.
I wish that was the case. They were like literally right next to us.
Yeah,
and it was just. God, we had to like finally be like, I'm gonna fucking destroy that gong if you do this shit again.
The idea that you could hear somebody selling something to someone that you know doesn't need it, and you're just like, don't you fucking do that.
Yeah, don't you celebrate that.
I'm
shit.
gonna be the one who's gonna have to fucking deal with this mess in like a week.
The good news is the people who spent the most, there was a specific team who handled those people, and so I had nothing to deal with most of those people.
Okay,
but that didn't make. But I had to deal with the gong every time they made that sale.
So what you're saying is I need a little gong, tiny, this little ding, little tiny gong on my desk.
No. God, no.
Well, we got a weird one this week. We got the ID at Xbox show, which had some interesting stuff in it, as well as a lot of controversy. It's a big controversy week.
Controversy week. Yeah.
Lots of controversy this week. Lots of juicy controversy. Maybe it's good that I'm feeling saucy and spicy,
maybe,
and juicy, and all the other adjectives that have to do with fruit, except for spicy. But before we get to that, I watched 2/3 of a documentary.
What was this documentary that you watched?
I was trying so hard to figure out something to watch. At first, I was going to watch Monkey Man, and I was like, oh, God, that's 2 hours. I don't think I have 2 hours until Michael gets to my house. And then I was going to watch Love Lies Bleeding, but I was like, oh, man, I don't know. I might get to the end of this and just be like, I don't have anything to say about this because it's like an art film, and I'm not like that deep about it.
It's like a really dark noir, apparently.
Yeah.
So you might have had stuff to say about it.
I might have. Yeah. But instead I went to, I'll tell you what, pro tip for everybody. You know how you can't figure out what the fuck is on streaming? Rotten Tomatoes has a page that is just like VOD release dates.
Oh, okay.
And you can see what's on streaming. And so I was looking through the stuff that was on streaming. I found this one that was like 93% critic rating. It's a documentary. Okay. And so I pulled out Hulu, which is where it was, and I pulled it up, and it was called The Contestant. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
I think it came out this week. I think it came out 2023 as like a British documentary. All right, dude, buckle up. In 1998 in Japan, you know how Japan has like these crazy game shows that like, we would see like prank shows or things that happen. I see you're reading the description over my shoulder.
I'm trying to, but it's hard to.
No, I'm gonna tell you.
My eyes are making it tricky.
I'm gonna tell you the story. So there was a show called Denpa Shonen that ran in Japan, and they did like these weird challenges. And one of the things they would do is they would like drop people off in a foreign country, and then they would like try to hitchhike to another country, like, and have adventures, and they would film them and stuff like that. In 1998, they decided they wanted to do a new show, and this fucking devil producer picked this guy who is a comedian. He's got this really long face, and so his name was like he was the eggplant. Nasubi. And they were like, and so the point of the show, okay, you remember the movie Old Boy?
Yeah.
You remember they put that guy in the hotel room and they don't let him leave for like 5 years?
Yeah.
It was that.
Wait, really?
So they put this guy in a room, and the room had like a table, a radio, postcards, and magazines, and like a rug, and like a kitchen and toilet. That was it. They took all his clothes, made him naked, turned on camera, and the whole point was, can you survive on the winnings from like write a postcard into this magazine's contest and then win something.
Okay.
So they didn't give him any food or clothes or anything, and they just said, here is a bunch of postcards and a bunch of magazines. Good luck. If you get 1 million yen, we'll let you get to leave. Now, the thing is that the door was unlocked, and the dude
So he could just leave whenever
could have left
wherever he wanted to.
But this is Japan, and
And
was
shame and such.
There was shame. There was all
Yeah.
this stuff. This guy also, he was bullied relentlessly as a kid because he has this weird. His face is just longer than a normal like.
Well, they had I think they had the picture of him in that thing you saw.
Yeah, his face is a little bit.
It's a little
longer.
It's not super long.
It's hard to tell with the hair, but it's a little bit longer, especially if you look at it from the side. Is a little bit longer.
That's probably. Let's see. It's not Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah, so he was like relentlessly bullied as a kid, and he finally turned to humor as a way to get around it.
Yeah.
And so they put him in this place, and they filmed him 24 hours a day, and then what they would do is they would film him 24 hours a day, and then they would cut that down to like 8 hours of footage, and then like the producer would cut that down to like 6 minutes of footage, and every week they would check in. And they'd just show all the craziest parts of it, and like the sound effects, and like he'd do a little dance whenever he got something, and he was naked the entire time. They put like
That's crazy.
They put an eggplant over his junk because his nickname was the eggplant because of the shape of his head.
Yeah.
And they think, and this was like the first reality show. This was it started airing like a year before the Truman Show came
Really?
out, and it was like 2 years before any like real reality television ever happened.
That's crazy. So it predates Cops?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That was one of the first like really big ones in America. At least.
Think I don't know. I only watched 2/3 of it. But
I'm just curious.
But like, you know, the people who did this, they're still alive. So like interviewing this guy, and he's like, yeah, it was like excruciating. Like I couldn't sleep, and I was lonely, and I didn't talk to anybody because all of the production staff were told, don't fucking talk to that guy. Like no contact with that guy. Like apparently in the beginning they gave him crackers because he had no food and he was like starving.
Yeah.
And then he won a bag of rice, and so after he won this bag of rice, they stopped giving him food where he had to win all of his food. It's fucking nuts because
that is insane.
Then like you would think it was like a horror movie because they're cutting to like the audience is watching this and like the hosts like joking about it, and like they put in silly sound effects and they only show like the parts where he was doing something silly.
Yeah.
And
they don't see all the horrendous parts of it.
Right. And like the whole country was just like, and then he became like this international sensation where they were getting like sports numbers every week on this guy's show, but he didn't know any of this.
He had no idea.
He had no idea. He was just sitting in his house sitting in this one room by himself. It wasn't even like a house. It was a one room and like a bathroom by himself. Like the dude from fucking Old Boy, just going crazy.
Yeah.
And then, this is all like common knowledge, but you guys, you should watch it. The specifics are interesting. I'll say that the part that I got to was, once he hit 1 million, they come into his room and they take him to Korea, and he goes to an amusement park, and they give him Korean barbecue because he said he wanted barbecue when he got out of the contest.
Yeah.
And then they put a blindfold on him. They're like, okay, we're almost done. And then they're like, okay, you can take off the blindfold. And he's in another room in Korea, and they're like, now you got to do it again in Korea. Like, this was 11 months after he started.
Christ.
And they take his clothes, and they, at one point when the internet was a thing, they started live streaming him 24 hours a day because people thought that it was a scam.
Yeah.
Like that they were just showing, like they would just, they get him all put together, film 6 minutes, and then let him go home. At one point they had to move him because people found out where he was.
Okay. That's fucking weird as shit.
But the thing about the Korean part is this motherfucker doesn't know Korean. It's not a similar language. He had to start by teaching himself Korean, and he had like a jar of kimchi that he bought as his only food until he was able to win more food.
That's so insane.
And like they didn't make him to have 1 million yen. They were like, you have to win you have to win prizes equivalent to the cost of a coach ticket back to Japan from Korea. And he did it super fast because this motherfucker, like, apparently he would ham it up for the camera, and then he would write 300 or 400 postcards a day.
Well, at that point, he's like, I know what's going to happen if I don't do this.
Right. And so they literally started like upping how much he had to make, because they didn't even tell him how much he had to make. He was just completely in the dark. But he also started to understand how much the things that he was winning were worth, and he's just like, I have to have done it by now. So anyway,
yeah,
and like
that's so insane.
This happened. This like happened to an actual person. So
that's so fucked.
It's on Hulu. It's called The Contestant. I'm 2/3 of the way through it, but it was just like riveting, and not just like, it's interesting from a cultural perspective of being like, you know, if you came to me and you were like, we're doing a content house, and it's like, oh, you've been choosing to see if you can like make enough money off of drop shipping to keep yourself alive, right? Like, here's a computer and here's a room. Give me all your clothes. You give me all the. I will give you all the kiss my ass and my fist that you deserve. Like, no,
I would be like the second anybody was like, oh, so you have to do it naked. I'm like, no,
fuck you.
Never.
Like, get the fuck away from me.
Fuck you guys.
Like, and then it's weird to watch like all of the audience just like laugh, and he was this big star, and everybody decided it was so funny. Like, I look at this guy, and maybe it's because I've watched Old Boy. I'm just like, this guy is going crazy. Like,
well, no, that's just the case. Like, that's one of those things about those like memes you see where people are like, if you were given like $1 million to stay in this one room for like just a month,
right?
People are like, I absolutely would do that. I'm like, I don't think you understand what you are agreeing to.
Yeah.
If you did something like that, like, people go crazy for less than that.
Yeah.
So like, holy shit, guys.
So yeah, it's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. Yeah, go watch it. That's the thing. I don't know. Maybe it gets like,
maybe it gets hopeful at the end. I don't know.
I was like, you know, there's movies that you'll watch where you're like, oh, it's pretty good until the third act, and then it all fell apart. But I'm just like, I feel pretty confident here that like how far I got, no matter what happens next, like, I got the gist, and I don't think it's gonna, like, the guy that was the producer that put him through all this bullshit is giving interviews, so I don't think that he like tracked him down and murdered him or anything. Like,
he's fine.
And even if he did, I think I'd be like, I could, you know, I'm not saying that's right, but like, I could kind of understand.
I would punch the guy in the nuts at least.
If somebody old boyed me, like Old Boy, when I got out, I would be looking to find out who put me in that room. And like,
by the way, this isn't like full Old Boy where the other part of Old Boy happens. Likely?
Yes, well, yes.
I hope not, at least.
Yes. Well, yeah, I don't know. I didn't get to the end. I didn't get to the part where he was
fucking weird,
hypnotized. Movie is weird.
The movie's insane, and the remake is not that much more.
Have you seen the other two? Have you seen the other two? Because that's a
trilogy thing.
Yeah, the Vengeance trilogy.
I don't remember.
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance.
No, I've heard of them, but I've never seen them.
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance is really is interesting. It's got a really good ending. Sympathy for Lady Vengeance is like a different animal entirely, but like Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance was. I remember watching that, and at the end of it, I was like, oh. Okay then.
Yeah, those movies are. I remember I know a lot of people have seen them over the years, but I was like, I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
like especially after watching Old Boy, you're just like, yeah, there's more like this. Like, no, I don't want any part of that.
I think I'm all good.
I think I'm good. Kind of thing.
Well, Michael, what about you? Do you watch anything? You see anything interesting this week?
Closest thing I guess is I went to go watch Spider-Man 2 on the in 35 millimeter.
Oh yeah,
for the first time since like 2004.
How's that hold up? Otto Octavius.
It holds up great, and it holds up even, and the colors on 35 millimeter pop even more than I thought they would. Mm-hmm. Like, it was glorious. I was like, oh my god, I forgot how like the feel of a 35 millimeter compared to like a digital feels, especially after having seen that movie like a million times over the years. Especially, and it was funny because it's the first time I've seen the original cut in a long time. Because every time I watch it nowadays, I watch the 2.1 cut because I like the longer fight scenes and stuff.
Oh, okay.
But then I forgot, like... But
just like a director's cut that came out a little while back? I'm not as familiar with that.
It's like, they took there was a lot of scenes that were taken out of the original cut that, like, they don't... It's not so much they explain things as so much as they add more to the story, as well as, like... It makes MJ look a lot better, too, actually. Because there's a point where, like... Because in the original one, everybody's always just like, she just left that guy, like for the fuck of it kind of thing. It's like, where in the longer cut... Like, the movie makes more of a point to be like, MJ clearly doesn't actually want to do this. Yeah, she's just doing it because she feels like she has to. Right. And it has like more with her best friend character, who like in the original one you see her like maybe a handful of times. Or in this version they have a whole conversation where they're like, do you actually love this guy? And she's like, well, he like she has a hard time like answering, and she's like, fuck you, like, really? Like, and so like that's, and it has like, it makes the fight scenes with Doc Ock longer, which is really cool. Okay. as well as adding like one or two things. But watching the original cut, like I forgot how well it flowed because of it, or because of the way the original cut was. And I'm like, this is just a fun time. And I wore my Spider-Man, like it's called the Last Stand outfit mostly. I'd had the mask for a bit and the gloves, but I hadn't worn the actual full outfit yet until that day. And so I decided to go wear that to the draft house. And I got some compliments on it.
There you go.
And also, it turns out it was cold as shit in that theater.
Yeah.
And so that helped a lot because I had this big leather jacket on. And I was like, oh, thank God. Otherwise, I've been fucking freezing in this goddamn theater.
Yeah. It's a good thing you were wearing like just one of those cheap Spirit Halloween store like spandex, just nothing.
That would have been real bad because I do have a normal Spider-Man spandex type outfit, but I'm like, I don't want to. Like, it's not that I don't want to wear it. It's just I can't zip the back by myself so far. And I was like, well, I don't want to like deal with that at the moment. And also, we were going to eat before we went, and that's like that outfit's like a full body outfit,
right?
So they're like, so I can't take the gloves off of it, kind of thing. So
it's like a onesie,
yeah, basically. And so I can't like eat. I didn't want to eat pizza while wearing that thing.
No, that sounds gross.
And so that's why I didn't wear that one. But no, it was a great time. They're showing all the Spider-Man movies throughout. Over a specific amount of time. They showed one before that. They did 3 the week after.
Okay.
But the draft house is the only one that has the 35 millimeters because everybody else are doing standard ones. And then they're going to show the rest of them, but I don't really care that much to go to the theater for the non-Sam Raimi ones.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of things that people might give a fuck about, let's talk about some Xbox games that are coming out.
People care about Xbox?
No, actually, I've got a news story that says specifically they don't, but we'll get to that later.
I was joking, but yeah.
I don't know. This is weird because this was like an IGN ID at Xbox thing where they kind of showed a bunch of different stuff, and a few of these were interesting, and some of them were less interesting, and this is not the beginning of this showcase. This is the beginning of this showcase. So, yeah, they started off with a game called Aster, Blade of the Monolith, and, like, I'm starting to wonder, Michael, if you and I need to find, like a shorthand, if RageSelect needs a specific shorthand of, like, this looks like a mid-tier, mid-budget indie game, like, it's like a 3D kind of third-person hack and slash with a little, like, kind of weird Jawa-looking guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like... I mean, I don't know.
It's
maybe
nothing crazy, I feel.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the thing that differentiates it from the other kind of 3D action little Jawa guy with some minor puzzles.
What you're saying is the Jawa needs a giant ass.
Yes.
That sheens to really make it pop.
It needs a bunny costume.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of the podcast, Michael. I don't know. I mean, like, it looks okay as an action game, but... I don't know. I guess that there's a lot of these things. I'm always looking for like what makes you different video game, and this one looks like it's I don't know. Maybe is it Soulsy? I see a lot of meters.
It's got a little bit of that, but it's more cutesy than it is anything else looking.
Yeah, they did a whole like let's play thing afterwards of this, but I didn't watch any of that because I was tired of watching these Xbox, the Xbox friends that come on in between segments to be like, "Hey, everybody, we're hanging out, we're having a great time, yeah."
It's us, the Xboxers.
We're the Xbox people. We got generic guy number 1, and here's a lady with a leather jacket. I don't know why Xbox loves like this is like this. She went to Sarah Bond's closet to get this outfit that she's wearing.
Yeah. Is that is it gloves or is that just how the jacket is designed?
I think it's just how the jacket's designed. It like turns into gloves.
Her name is interesting though.
Yeah.
Like Horcher is such a weird last name.
Oh, I didn't even look at it.
I saw that because I was like, are these people I know? And then I was like, no, I don't know. I've never heard of somebody named Kim Horcher. Yeah. That would be a name I would not forget anytime soon.
Yeah.
And Alan Wheeler sounds like a guy out of Transformers.
And don't forget about Damon Hatfield. Damon Hatfield?
That is a made-up name.
Damon Hatfield. Okay. Anyway, enough with these guys. You know what? One of the things I've loved over the last 4 years is that we've gotten to the point where a company can just put out a showcase without a host. They can just be like, next up, let's take a look at this. Instead of having to have banter.
Yeah, like, I don't need banter.
No banter.
I have stopped needing banter the second you stopped doing E3, guys. You were actually before that, to be honest.
I will provide my own banter. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Yeah, from there, let's see. Is this thing in order? I don't know why people... Yeah, it is. Okay. We got another thing for 33 Immortals. I'm, like, not sold on this game at all.
I'm not either. Like, I remember the description of it sounded really cool, and then you see it, and you're like, this isn't all that interesting.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if it's just like multiplayer game burnout. I'm just universally less interested in multiplayer games than I am in just single player games.
Well, the issue is that multiplayer games have stepped up immensely over the years.
Yeah.
So seeing anything that's like less than, anything that's huge, like Helldivers 2 has really changed the game for a lot of people multiplayer wise.
Right.
So if you're seeing this like very bland top down fantasy thing where the slashing looks like exactly the same no matter what.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't really give a shit about this.
I don't know. Maybe when it comes out, maybe it has something that I'm not seeing in the actual gameplay. But
the animations are gorgeous. Don't get me wrong. But the actual, but like the actual animations of the people fighting, isn't all that interesting.
Okay. I'm sorry. I remember what I wanted to say about this. It's this looks like fighting a raid boss in an MMO.
Yes.
But Diablo.
That's a good way of putting it.
But like with the Hades controls, like, and I don't want to fight a raid boss at MMO. I find that like chipping down 0.5% of their HP per hit is like...
It's not satisfying.
I don't find it to be incredibly satisfying. And even if it's like, but he was a really hard boss. And it's like, yes, but if there weren't like 50 of us here or 33, it wouldn't have been, I don't know. So I don't know. There's a beta coming in at the end of May. Whatever. Let's see. From there, we got some new pals for Power World. We got some new stuff for Power World.
So how many of the pals want to fuck you like the other pals? Is that still a thing?
Well, none of them explicitly. None of them are like Lovander. Okay. But there's a frog that's got a little karate outfit. It's cool. A little like peacock guy, just like a weird furry in a Asian outfit, and then like a derpy lizard with a mushroom on his head, and then there's a flamethrower now, which I like.
So people not watching this footage, if you heard the term a furry in an Asian outfit, your thought process would not be what is actually being shown.
Oh.
Because you would be thinking of an actual man in a furry outfit in an Asian outfit.
Oh.
Because that just makes me giggle.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good to see that Power World is adding new stuff.
It's like a fox thing that's like hovering or something. I don't really know.
There's another pal. I don't remember his name. There's another pal that's like this. It's like a samurai or something that you can get. It's like one of the bosses.
People are going to want to fuck that, though. I'm just going to say.
Well, people want to fuck everything in Power World. People are going to be horny for this frog over here.
Oh, they're absolutely going to be horny for the frog.
And this derpy...
The internet loves frogs for some reason.
This derpy dinosaur with a mushroom hat on.
I love him, to be honest. I think he's fun.
He's pretty fun.
He's like a Yoshi with a mushroom hat on.
The thing that's weird, there's also, like... Power World is also putting out an arena. Okay. They're putting out like I don't know, it's hard to say. There's like a separate arena mode or something coming. I don't understand exactly how that works. Yeah. Anyway, from there, one of the things I really didn't see coming was, Michael, they're making a new Commandos game.
Really?
Yeah. Commandos 1, 2, and 3 came out like 1 billion years ago.
Yeah, I have not heard that name in a long time.
And this is Commandos Origins.
Of course, it's called Origins.
And it's 3D. The thing that made me the most sad when I saw this announcement was I was like, oh no, Me shut down. Like they would have been the perfect company to make Commandos Origins. Like they're the ones that picked up the slack on the Commandos style of action.
Yeah, this is all they did.
Right. Like this is essentially one of their games, but Commandos, for who doesn't know, is kind of like, it's like a top down. It's like any of the Me games, like Shadow Tactics or Desperados or the pirate one. So, but it's a franchise. Like they just put out, I think, an HD like upres of the previous ones, but this is like a whole new game, and apparently it's coming out this year. And it's like, okay,
good, yeah.
I guess you guys have really run out of franchises, but
I think that's what we're seeing more and more lately.
And there isn't a new Sniper Elite game out.
So strange.
From there, we got one that I actually really am interested in. This is called Centum. And it is... The trailer for it, Michael, is weird as shit. It's by this company called Serenity Forge. And it's like... I can't tell. It's like an adventure game. but then there's also kind of like it keeps changing directions, and there's like mini games, and there's like a lot of like moody atmosphere and like weirdos and crazy people, and like it's hard to tell exactly what is happening here.
There's a lot just happening on the screen.
There's just a lot of imagery that is occurring, and I don't know if it fits together in any way, shape, or form. And trust me, having the audio on doesn't make it any more coherent. So
the longer it goes on, the less it makes sense.
Right, because it keeps like it starts out with a semi-coherent art style, then it starts going into other art styles. And
yeah, like it was like medieval, and then it's not. And
right,
then there was like a car.
Right, there's a cat.
It's like what the fuck?
Yeah. And then in like a computer, is this like zoomed or something? I feel like this edges of this are getting cut off.
It's a little bit because there was some text that was like appearing at one point that just didn't show.
Is that me or is that
don't know. That's the
trailer?
thing.
I can't tell. I don't think it's me.
Also, IGN, like not everything that isn't like a 3D game is 8-bit. That's not how 8-bit worked.
Right. Right. Well, it's got pixel art, so it's 8-bit.
I guess that's just the term now.
Yep. So yeah, Centum, real weird. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
you got to go watch the trailer for it. It's one of them weird artsy fartsy games that's full of farts and arts. So,
and that doesn't make any more sense. Okay,
it ends with like a Super
Summer
Meat Boy.
2024.
Yep,
cool.
Some point this year. Okay, so wait. Okay, they're cut off on this video. That's not me.
That's just the trailer. Then. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, we got another trailer for Lost Records Bloom and Rage, which is the next game from Don't Nod.
Oh, okay.
That is, for all the world, a Life is Strange game, it seems like. But it's not connected to the Life is Strange universe. Like, I think I actually read something where they said, like, we didn't want to be beholden to the rules of that universe. We want to kind of make our own story. They put out this trailer that's very much like a person with, like, a handheld camera in the 90s filming a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And like with all the Don't Nod stuff, it all looks solid.
It does. It's got a really nice art style to it.
Especially because they put a little bit of a VHS filter on it. You could really get away with a lot, but still not really any specific gameplay. This is just like kind of a style thing, and then no release date yet. But I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. I think I'd like to know more. Tell me more, please.
Yeah. Definitely want to know what that name means.
Yeah, especially it's also coming out late this year, so I feel like if it's gonna be out that soon, we should know a little bit more about it. From there, let's see. We moved on to This Is Keylocker, which is a cyberpunk kind of turn-based game where you're kind of running around like an RPG, but then you have these kind of like weird hex grid, like turn-based battles with a lot of weird cyberpunk stuff.
That's always the funny thing about these like announcements. They're like, look at this really cool detailed art style.
Right.
And it'll cut to the game and you're like, oh, that is not what I expected at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This one I feel like is one of those ones where it's like, I need more than vibes to get interested.
Like it's unique looking. I give them that.
There's definitely something going on with like music. Like one of the characters you have is like a sentient like jukebox. There's like a little Guitar Hero mini game going on in there.
Yeah,
bunch of people looking wistfully into the distance of the cyber future. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't really get a good handle on this one.
It looks interesting, is all I can say about it. But the actual gameplay, once you play it, is really what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be one of those ones where I'm going to need some assurances from people that I trust that it's like, no, you got to play it because it looks. The problem is it looks generic, or at least looks generic for my taste. So
I don't know what it looks like. that's the issue. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, what is this fucking thing?
It's kind of like that other one, kind of like that Centum. Yeah, it's hard to say. And then there's Fat Joe. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's kind of like like this feels more like what you would call it closer to like an 8-bit, 32-bit kind of look.
Yeah,
but I don't know how it'll be until somebody actually plays it, because flashes to play doesn't really do anything for me for a game like that.
It's also like it's a turn-based game, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't like the.
I need to see how a whole battle looks like.
It's hard to get me excited about turn-based. Like you can show me a 3D action game and I can like get an idea of how it's going to work, but I can't glean anything about how your turn-based RPG system works just by looking at a battle happening.
No.
So
same with story. I need more about the story.
Let's see. From there, we had to have an ad break. Which is some bullshit. When they came back, our little host had to jabber. Michael, I don't think anybody cares about this. Stampede Racing Royale is a 60-player kart racing battle royale game. So it's like Mario Kart if there were 60 karts.
I guess.
Great. I don't care.
I like the idea, but I only like Mario Kart or Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
So I don't really think I would care. I don't know. Like, I'm sure there are people who love kart racers in general.
Yeah.
They'll have a good time with it. But it's not really that interesting.
It was like no, not Riders Republic. What was that one that was on like the PS3 where you could like make your own tracks and upload them and stuff?
Oh,
I can't remember the name of it.
Is it the one with the bikes that are like sideways?
No.
I don't remember that.
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of it.
I don't know. The thing is,
because there's a lot of them was the issue. They made quite a few of those at one point.
Yeah.
You're talking about the one that we played with the MMOE type thing or whatever.
MMO Kart Racer?
No, the bicycle one.
Oh, that was Riders Republic.
Oh, then I guess I'm thinking of something else then.
Or yeah, that was Riders Republic. Anyway. I didn't play F-Zero 99 and I'm not interested in this. So
yeah, this isn't even that. This isn't all that much more interesting, but I like the idea of it.
Yeah. Let's see. From there, Jackbox is putting out a specific pack called the Jackbox Naughty Pack that is specifically like adult themed, which I think just means like it's got boobs and butts and stuff in it.
I guess, yeah.
Because the whole thing is framed with like, I love Jackbox games. Could you make one that was just for adults? And I'm like, you guys aren't playing Jackbox games right if they're for children, because anytime you're allowed to draw something, you better believe it.
Yeah, they're allowed to draw, or the second you're allowed to say anything in a room full of people you trust.
Yep.
It gets very fucked up.
This
very
is like,
fast.
oh, I love Cards of Humanity, but could you make one that was like really, really offensive? And I'm just like, oh, you guys don't know how to play Cards Against Humanity, apparently.
You just haven't been doing this correctly.
Yeah. From there, this is another, God, I'm sorry about these, you guys. It's called Times and Galaxy, and it appears to be like kind of an adventure game where you're a robot reporter going around like the future, going around to different planets, like looking at like pet shows and stuff. Like, it's got a lot of interesting characters, but then again, this is another one that doesn't show well in a montage format.
No. Like, I like the idea of like being a reporter going across the universe, but like,
yeah,
I have to really know what's going on, I guess.
So it looks like you get to like this little mini game to put together stories and stuff like that, and that there might be some kind of relationship stuff. I don't know. It's got an interesting art style. It's very like bright and colorful.
Yeah, I like the designs a lot too.
Yeah, hard to say. Times and Galaxy coming in June. Let's see. After that, we saw Sulfur is coming to Xbox. This has actually been in early access on the PC. I've actually played it on the PC.
Oh, okay.
It's a first-person roguelike game where you kind of play as like this. You're kind of fighting these cultists, but they're kind of the whole game has an art style that's similar to like what the Golf was a first-person shooter set in a medieval horror world,
which I kind of like, to be honest. It's got a lot of charm to it.
Yeah,
that you wouldn't see normally in a first-person shooter.
I didn't get very far in it, but it was it's like a first-person roguelike, and it's got a pretty good art style. It's got essentially kind of like time rewind mechanic. I think you get this amulet that kind of traps you in this time loop until you can escape.
Oh, okay.
But it's got a lot of different like weapon customization and weird stuff that you can pick up. And the art style works really good like in both 3D and 2D, which is something specific with it. Like it can cut between the two of them relatively easily and it doesn't look weird.
Well, that's what makes it so interesting is the fact that like, it doesn't feel wrong when a 2D version of the character model comes up or vice versa. I like the idea of this a lot.
Yeah. And it's also very violent, and it's also weird and fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of got this semi-cutesy aesthetic. I don't know how you would put it. Like, it's not...
No, yeah.
It's not neutral.
It's got the best way I could put it is it looks like a 3D version of the Adventure Time art style.
Okay. Or like they took all the lines off of... Adventure Time.
Yeah, they look like characters in that, like you would run into in that, basically.
Yeah, okay.
But you're shooting them in the face.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
I do too. So that's good. That's coming to the Xbox. No specific release date yet. Let's see. From there, we got a game called Farah, The Sundered Tribes. This is some kind of survival game where you live in the sky,
okay,
and then you craft stuff, and you come down to kind of like this. What was that game that you and I played? That Avowed? No, not Avowed. The one that you and I played, where you were, it was like a hack and slash, and you built a house, and you would go rescue people. We played like 4 weeks ago, where you're like, you. It was
the problem is I keep thinking of that one where you fell off a cliff and died, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't what it was.
It's the one that had the Breath of the Wild stuff in it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the name of it.
Was it that
Sundered?
one?
No, I keep saying that. It's the one that came out around the same time where Power World came out that we looked at recently. Anyway, this is very like...
No, I know what no, it is the game I'm thinking of too. That's the worst part is I don't remember the name of it.
This is interesting. It's basically like it's got a lot of that DNA. It's got some kind of Breath of the Wild, like going from up high down low. It's got a swinging kind of grapple mechanic.
Okay.
And it's got some kind of big Monster Hunter style big monsters that you're getting. Like you can grapple onto them and climb on them, like Shadow of the Colossus. It looks
kind of cool.
I really like it. Like I was a little... Like when I first saw it, I was a little like, I don't know. And then like the more I saw of it, I was like, no, I do know. I want to play this. It looks interesting. And you can play it online with a number of different people. I don't know. I'm big into this. Like you can jump off the side of a cliff and glide places.
Yeah, and
mechanic.
it's like a cool looking glide, not just like an awkward glide.
Yeah. Apparently you can capture some of the monsters as well and raise them for like specific resources. I don't know. It looks... Like again, at first the art style is very busy and it was slightly off-putting to me, but like starting with just like you're way up in the air and then you have to kind of travel like all the way down to the surface to do stuff is interesting. It was interesting. An interesting take on the survival mechanics that I haven't seen before.
I think it's a fun color scheme that's going on with it.
Yeah,
with his designs. But it looks great.
I saw a video the other day that was talking about how the young people might be getting out of like we're all done with muted colors and like conservative like minimalism.
God. I'm so fucking tired of that shit.
We're into maximalism now. We're going back to the 80s. Bright fucking colors, sparkles, and lasers and shit, man.
That's the problem I was having for a long time. I was like, nothing's colorful anymore.
Yeah.
This is annoying the shit out of me. Like, I want color in my shit again.
Yep.
Especially after watching Spider-Man 2. I'm like, look at all this color, man. Fuck.
It was like red and shit.
Yeah. I want Superman to look like he's wearing blue and not fucking almost black.
Ooh, shit. Okay. Ooh, we're going to go faster. Must go faster. Let's see. From there, we got a new game from the people who made Pixel Junk Monsters, who I've not heard from in a long time. And it's called All You Need Is Help. And it's got a very strange, it's like a bunch of pieces that you're trying to put into a specific order, but it's like a multiplayer game where you're trying to move around. And it's got physics where you're hitting the other people and you're trying to kind of like get to the right place without falling off or nudging your friends in the wrong direction or doing stuff. It's an interesting idea.
Well, it's a lot like that scissor one. It was
snipper clips.
Super snipper clips, except without cutting them into different shapes.
Yeah. But it's like everybody has a different Tetris piece they're trying to kind of like move, but in a very constrained area where you can bump into each other and fuck each other up. So
like I think that's a cool idea, but at the same time, like sounds very difficult.
Yeah. Let's see. After that, we got the trailer for Tales of Iron 2. Whiskers of Winter. Tales of Iron 1, I don't think we ever played it on RageSelect, was a 2D side-scrolling game where you played as like a mouse, and it was very violent. It was like a very medieval fantasy kind of thing, but it was very violent. And in this one, you're playing as like a new mouse, and you're trying to fight like the bats that come out like every 100 years or something. It's kind of like horrible medieval bat monsters, and it's very bloody and violent and dark. Except you play as mice, so
that's kind of cool.
It's
got an interesting art style. Yeah.
Very heavy, like almost like Darkest Dungeon, like a semi-reminiscent of Darkest Dungeon. Yeah. Not exactly, but like close to it.
It's got an art booky like thing to it.
Yeah,
it's a fun idea.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. From there, we got this game called Hangry. That's like you're this kind of brawler working for a chef on an alien world, and you're like beating up monsters and then taking their parts for food.
Oh, there's an anime like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a game like that. We played it, I think. Like where you play as the. It's like a Metroidvania where you're collecting the pieces.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Like a witch or something. This is different than that. It's got a kind of a weird semi-retro aesthetic to it. Of like the main character has like a greaser haircut and a leather jacket on.
Okay. Yeah, this is different from what I'm thinking of. Only because that anime specifically, the guy beating up the things also eats them.
Oh yeah. Are you thinking of Delicious in Dungeon?
No, it was called. It was made a long time ago. It was not super long ago, but it was like 2008. It was called like Toriko, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was another guy like dressed kind of like Goku, but he had like blue hair, and he killed things like with his bare hands and then would cook them. And one of his special moves things was that like his arm and his hand would act like a fork and a knife, or both like one arm would act like a knife, the other arm would act like a fork.
Okay.
So all his moves like were weird that way, but he was very popular at the time. Like it was at the time they were trying to like make him like as big as Luffy was at the time.
Okay,
and it worked for a bit, but then I guess the show ended, and then everyone forgot it existed.
I figured out what this is.
What's that?
This is the dark '90s version of Bug Snacks.
I could see that, maybe. Yeah. I love its designs, though. It looks it looks really fun.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more of it. There's another one they did a Let's Play for after the thing, but I didn't watch it because there was too much to watch this week. So, let's see. From there, we got this is a strange one. This is called Promise Mascot Agency. This is the game from first off, Ikumi Nakamura. Yeah, Nakamura. You know, the lady that did from Tango Softworks.
This is what she did?
Well,
she moved on to?
Her new company is doing something different. They're doing a different game, but she consulted on this with this company.
Oh.
This is the company that made Paradise Killer. I don't know if you know what that is.
Vaguely.
It's like a visual novel / investigation game in heaven where there's been a murder in heaven.
Oh, I know.
And you play as a weird lady and you're doing investigations. I don't know what this is, but it's like you're driving around in a truck throwing mascots at things. Like, and when I say mascots, I mean like the big guys in the suits.
Yeah, no, I was wondering what that thing was at one point where they showed somebody, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
And the main character is like an ex-Yakuza, but he carries around like a broom.
Yeah.
And so you're like recruiting mascots, and then like reforming mascots, and then by the end of the game, they show like just driving around. Also, there's a bunch of weirdos. There's a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah,
it reminds me of like a Suda 51 or a sweary game. Like it seems like that.
It seems like a game they would have made it normally.
So yeah, you're literally blasting mascots like out of the back of your truck into places. I don't know, man. This one's hard to describe. It's a weird concept.
No, it's super hard to describe because the more I'm like, well, maybe I'll understand it. And then it showed the truck flying, and I was like, I have no idea.
Yep. It's coming out in 2025. I don't know what else. I mean,
that's kind of a fun idea.
You know, it kind of reminds me, again, it also reminds me of, not exactly the same. The overall what the fuck vibe reminds me of The Good Life. Remember that? The Suda 51 game where people turned into cats at night or whatever.
That was a weird fucking game. A lot of weird fucking games out of that game.
Yep. But people really like Paradise Killer, so I'm sure they're really interested. Let's see, there are 5 games by Gamera Games that are coming to Game Pass. This is Depersonalization, Firework, Volcano Princess, and Kelperth and the Rewinder. This was like a little montage of all these. Okay. They're all a little different. Yeah, they're all a little different. I'm not really sure. This is just one of those montages.
A lot of montage stuff.
Yeah. And I believe after this, there's a second montage. Oh, yeah. The Rewinder, this is the one that they kind of focus on at the end, where I think this is like, it's like your, it's a kind of medieval fantasy, like medieval Japanese fantasy. And it's like a puzzle adventure game, but then like you get killed a lot. Like,
okay.
I think it's one of them, like, you got to figure out the right way to go. And that one's out right now. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, we're just about done here. And how much time do we have? Oh, shit, we're out of time. All right, never mind. Let's just finish up right now. Another big montage full of stuff. It's fine. I'm doing this because what's left is all of the games in this montage are the games they showed at the last Xbox thing.
Oh, okay.
But just as a montage instead of showing them individually. So go watch the last one. And then from there, this is a real easy finish, Michael. Dungeons of Hinterberg, which we're both on. Again, like... I don't really think this looks like something I'd be interested in.
I remember when they showed this last time, and our consensus was like, I don't give a fuck about this.
Yeah. This lady, and she's kind of skateboarding, and she's doing like skateboarding on her sword, making friends with people at a coffee shop, solving puzzles, and doing some minor combat in a cell-shaded world. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I remember just being like, I don't care about this.
Comes out July 18th, and then the last thing that they showed was... some new Vampire Survivors updates.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like it's a joke trailer where they talk about their new quadruple A update with they're
just making fun of some people.
Yeah, like we've got hyper realistic characters and doors that open and there's a train. And then they just replay the trailer for the Contra DLC.
Oh, okay.
So
good for them.
Yeah, like I said, nothing like huge. But I definitely kind of wanted to get all this out of the way at the beginning. Like, I think that the Commandos thing is kind of interesting. Like, that one surreal game seemed like it was interesting.
Yeah.
There's a few I'd like to see more of, like that Hangry game I'd like to see more of. And especially that Farah Sunder Tribes with the monster stuff where you jump off stuff. That was all good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Decent. But not, like, blowing my mind.
It's still funny that Vampire Survivors has a Contra crossover
DLC.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're working with a Konami-based theme thing. I'm like, oh, great. What is it? It's Contra.
It's Contra, baby. Well, it makes more sense than the Among Us crossover.
It does.
Let's put it that way.
It definitely does.
Oh, then we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, it's going to be time for the controversies. So stick around. And Michael, it's controversy time.
Yes. It has nothing to do with Contra, though.
Yes, nothing to do with Contra. Oh, too bad. Stellar Blade came out last week.
It did.
You and I played it. I played all the way through it over the weekend. We did the dojos for it. We saw all the sexy costumes and all the
There's so many of them.
Sexiness and all that stuff. I thought the game was fine. I liked it quite a bit. But... a lot of people are real fucking mad about it. And the reason is because some of the outfits have been slightly desexified.
They were altered. So basically, and the thing is that this was, okay. The game had an outfit in some of the trailers. It was called like the bunny outfit, and it's this like kind of gray one piece kind of swimsuit almost looking thing that has like a little bunny thing on the back. It's got a real deep V cut in the front with a lot of cleavage. Very deep V cut. Yeah.
It's got some high cuts on the side, a lot of thighs going on. The 1.0 version, which is on the disc, came out. And that was that. But there was a day one patch that put like a shirt underneath to cover up like part of the boobage, and then to kind of cut down a little bit on how much thigh is shown. Additionally, there was another costume that's like this kind of like, it's hard to explain. It's basically like a bondage swimsuit. It's got a bunch of like little ropes going back and forth. It's been patched to have some more stuff underneath it. Anyway, there was some patching that went on to make the character look like slightly less of a cyber hooker than she already is. Now, given. Okay, you know what? I got to go into this now. There's a lot of people there's a narrative out there.
There's a lot of people who go to massage therapists.
When a man and a woman love each other very much. No, a lot of people out there have been holding up Stellar Blade as this weird thing where they're like, video game developers are making all women in video games ugly. I don't think that's true.
Definitely not true.
To be honest. And that here we have the shining example of a developer who has a hot ass main character dressed in slutty cyber gear. Take that,
and it's owning the libs.
Own the libs, you SJWs. And so then this came out, and then this got patched, and the developer himself came out and said, I did this because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, Sony made him do it. Boycott Sony. Also, there's a question about whether the violence got toned down a little bit in the game. And so people have gotten mad. There's this screenshot that you see a lot of these two versions that show the main character violently
the one she's like covered in it, and the other one she's not.
Yeah, so like the amount of blood on that character seems like it's less. Okay, so that's where we are. Of course, Michael, there's a petition to get the sexiness resexified. You were talking about there's people to boycott Sony. Yeah. Sony made you do this. Okay, I got a lot of different feelings about this. I need to get them out. Feel free to interject anytime because I feel like I could go on a rant here. Okay,
I'm just gonna let you rant because I'm curious.
All right, number one. Why in the world would you ever think that Sony would not interfere with the sexiness of a video game? They have a proven track record for the last 5 years of having censorship in their games, see Devil May Cry 5, when other games do not have censorship in them. Now, I know that this is a PlayStation exclusive, but like thinking that Sony is just going to let like the everything go with no oversight, I think that's slightly naive. Like I think you could have seen that coming.
Yeah.
But my hot take, which people may not think of coming from me, is like I don't want to be associated with the people that are like boycott Sony, but I also don't understand the idea of taking the boob window like up by 5 inches because you've seen the outfits in this game.
Yeah.
Like half of the outfits in this game, you are looking right up. The main character bends over when she runs and her ass is pointed directly at the camera. And half of these outfits have no pants on and you are just looking right up her crotch.
What was that one outfit that we put on she bent down really hard and we both just were like, whoa, man, fuck me.
Yeah. No, that's half of the outfits in the game.
Yeah.
Also,
might have been the underwear one. The lingerie looking one.
Well, there's also just like a bikini in the game.
There's just the bikini.
There's just a bikini.
And it's like sexier than like that bunny outfit by like a mile.
There's several bathing suits in the game that are very, very revealing. There's the weird ocean maid costume and there's a bikini and stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually my take on this is actually, I think that you shouldn't have censored it because why bother? Like, most of the outfits in this game are so revealing that, like, what is the point of reducing 5 inches of cleavage window
on one outfit?
Like, when you've literally got, like, a whole ass bikini in the game where you can literally take off all the clothes and have a flesh-colored skin suit.
Some weird shit going
on. So, like, why bother? You know? Like, this obviously wasn't a game that was made for children.
No.
Like, it's not like you've got to protect the young minds from this. This is definitely a game that was made for adults. Also, similar games like, when Bayonetta doesn't attack, all of her hair clothes come off. 2B is wearing a maid outfit when she's running around. Like, we have video games that are action third-person video games with characters, lady characters that have revealing, suggestive clothing on.
Yeah.
And, like, that's a thing that caters to a specific audience. Now, if the rest of the video game industry was prudish and the whole, like, front page of Steam wasn't pornography, like actual pornography, like when you play the trailer for it, you literally see intercourse happening in the trailer for the video game, I might be a little bit more like, well, I don't know, you know, it's not like video games are showing full-on penetration, but video games are showing full-on penetration on Steam.
It's just in and out, and until it just sort of ends.
The old in and out. So, but on the other hand, I gotta say, I completely, like, I'm not on board this uglification narrative or, like, Stellar Blade is a 10 out of 10. It's just a fucking good, it's a good video game.
It's a good game.
Like,
people are treating it like it's that thing that happened with Sydney Sweeney.
Right.
That made even less, like, just as much sense, where they're like, because there's a sexy woman that exists that the libs are owned. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what do you, like, she was on SNL and all of a sudden that means that the liberals lost SNL. I don't understand. Like, I generally don't.
I don't understand either. There's a lot of jiggling. There's a lot of revealing costumes. Again, I'm kind of on the side of why bother to close the boob window, but by the same token, there's a gajillion sexy costumes in the game, and it appears to be fine. The only thing I will say, the only point I will give in that direction is that, again, it is a PS5 exclusive. So It's not like you could be like, well, I want to buy the Steam version that has the uncensored boob window in it, because you can't.
No.
You probably will be able to eventually, but then on the third hand, which, you know, is down there.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say
it. You and I were discussing this the other day, and this is probably a Bayonetta type of thing where this game might not have gotten fully completed if not for Sony, like, funding it as an exclusive. So
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. And, you know, the other thing is that the general audience doesn't know any of this is even happening.
Yes.
Like, most of them have no idea that crazy people are yelling about boob windows as loud as they can, where the rest of them are just like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
I spent the weekend reading various Reddits and comment threads and stuff, and, like, to be honest, I said all that, right? But my grand conclusion for this, and for a lot of these controversies, is like, this is exhausting. Like, is it a good game? Yes.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. I don't care about the amount of boob window or not boob window or how big the dump truck is on the main character. Like, you know, the first time I put on those jeans that I showed in the Tojo, I was like, what a dump truck. And then I was more concerned with, like, raising up my sword stat so that I could kill stuff faster. Yeah. Like, I wasn't spending the entire time just like staring at the ass of my character.
Like, it's I don't, like, it's just the game, guys.
Yeah.
These are fictional characters.
So
you have to understand this.
Yeah. But people are real mad about it. So, you know, I can always tell what people are really mad about because I talk to my dad. My dad is a conservative, and a lot of times he'll call. It's like this Monday, I was talking to him. He was like, "So what's this Stellar Blade that I'm reading about?" And I was like, "Okay, let me tell you."
So what is about these giant asses I've been hearing? My issue of gigantic asses was talking about this, and I don't understand what's going on.
I kept
here.
seeing a bunch of asses on my internet window. What is the deal with all the asses? So yeah, I don't know. Do you have any additional thoughts on this matter?
Not really. Like, I've said pretty much exactly what you're saying, which is that, like, this is exhausting. Like, how do you people live your lives? Like, you can't look at anything and not, like, lose your mind over nothing.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me wonder what these people's lives, like, if Tomb Raider 1 was coming out, like, and these people were reacting the same way.
Sure.
Like, the pixels aren't big enough, guys.
Right.
Like, it's like no one fucking cares. Does the game play well? This game could have literally just been full-blown pornography.
Yeah.
And the game would have been terrible.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, well, I don't care about any of this. Mm-hmm. And it could have been the opposite, where it would have been like the world's greatest game, but she was just like a nun the entire time.
Sure.
And not a sexy nun. Just a nun.
Just a regular nun.
Like an old woman nun. The one that yells shame in fucking, like, Game of Thrones kind of thing. Like, I don't care. Like, I genuinely don't care.
Yep. Yep.
I keep thinking of Ben Affleck and Jay and Silent Bob going, these are fictional characters.
Yeah, I don't know. It's again, I think that the censorship is stupid, but I also don't care enough to have a strong opinion.
Well, it's not like they made the game Stellar Blade and then when it was released, she was forced to wear what are they called? The
burqa?
Burqa?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not what happened here.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. The game didn't change. Like, it's fine.
Actually, I do have one more thing that I wanted to say that I was thinking when I first started playing the game, because it took me a while when I was playing the game to find an outfit that gave this poor woman pants. And first half of the game, I was like, you know what, guys? I'm not trying to take away any of the cyber hooker outfits from the game. You can have all the skin suits and boob windows that you want. But could I just have something that looks like this person's a soldier in a cyber future and not a hooker?
Yeah.
Like, can I just have something that looks like clothes?
Like everyone else is wearing. Like, I was joking about. I'm sure these dojos are out at this point. I was joking at the fact that, like, yeah, everybody else in this core is dressed like a cyber hooker,
right?
And then you meet somebody who's also part of this core, and they're dressed like they solve mysteries in a van with a dog. And I'm like, why am I the only one dressed like this?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yep. Anyway, that was the Stellar Blade. Glad now you have to know. I have to know,
Yes.
so now you have to know. But we're not even done with the sexiness yet, Michael.
There's quite a few controversies around sexiness for some reason.
So this was a very weird one. We're going to have to go through it pretty quick because we could spend too long on all these. But there was an indie game. There's an indie game called Farm Folks that's like a multiplayer Farmville behind the back kind of game.
Yeah.
Third-person game. And they're kind of cheeky. Like I looked at some of their tweets, like they put out a tweet like, what do you think about this new outfit? And it was a guy holding a card in front of his junk like John Cena did at the whatever's.
I guess that's fun.
So they put out a thing that was, all right, time for some this is a tweet. All right, time for some serious game development talk. We're tinkering with character physics and Farm Folks. Burning question, which version has the best breast jiggle physics? And it was 50%, 90%, or 30%. And it was a little animation. They've taken it down, so I can't see it. And so then, okay, people came at them about this, saying, why are you putting fucking Bayonetta jiggle physics in a farm game? And then the people that were mad about Stellar Blade came at those people because they took down their tweet and said, we apologize.
They started a war, yes.
And then they were like, why did you apologize? You put more jiggle physics in your game and you'll sell 1 million copies like Stellar Blade. And it's like, no. This isn't the same type of thing.
I saw that tweet before I got here, by the way.
But then there was a big interview on Kotaku that I think people should go read. That is basically like this developer going like, we were talking internally and some of our developers were like, some of our players in our betas were like, we should have some boob physics on the models. Like, it doesn't have to be dead or alive, but just something, so they're not just like
stiff.
And we were experimenting with it. We genuinely were like, we're not sure which one looks the best because we're too close to it. So we put out this tweet to be like, hey, the internet, which one of these looks most natural to you? And they, okay, if they're to be believed, they happened to do it on the same weekend that Stellar Blade came out and all this bullshit was going down. So there's a narrative that says, oh, they were just doing this to try to capitalize on the eyes that were on this topic right now. But then the guy that's making the game who gave this big interview was like, no, we're just stupid. Like, we didn't know.
They didn't think about it.
In fact, they asked what they thought about the people talking about or being mad about Stellar Blade, and they're just like, yeah, I don't want those people playing my game, and I don't give a fuck what they think. Like very explicitly, just like, no, we just made a mistake. Sorry, y'all. We'll try not to do that again. But
my bad.
Yeah, but they are like a little edgy and they are a little silly, and they're trying to make a game that appeals, I think, a little bit. Like the guy was like, oh, we don't want to make a cozy game. We want to make something that's got a little bit more of an edge to it. You know, think of like Power World, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not super sanitized, and so it appeals to people with a less. Or they want a little bit of edge in their game.
Yeah, they're not trying to just make Animal Crossing like a lot of those people who make those cozy type games try to do.
Yeah,
like they want to be like, this is the T for teen like minimum,
right? Like
kind of thing that we're doing, which, you know, good for them, because a lot of adults are like, I don't want to wait for Nintendo to keep making games like this for me to want to play these.
Exactly. Let's see. Speaking of cozy games, Stardew Valley had a little bit of a weird kerfuffle this weekend, where people online asked if there could be a pronoun selection when you make a character in Stardew Valley. I had kind of assumed this was already a thing.
I thought it was a thing too, but I don't know enough about Stardew Valley.
Yep. Stardew Valley is mainly made by one person, so they kind of started asking this person for it, and then there was a fight about it. Like, I looked at Concerned Ape's Twitter, and like, that guy doesn't comment on anything. All he talks about, all that Twitter account is updates to Stardew Valley and Haunted Chocolatier. Like, it's not this is just my personal feelings throughout the day. It's development updates. So I think there's a good the case. They have not commented on this. I think there's a good case to be made that they will never comment on this, that it might just be put into a new update. I think some
just show up one day.
Were a little mad that it didn't happen right away, that they like asked for it. It didn't happen right away. There was also some exhausting internet folks that were mad that this was asked for as an option, that then started harassing some of the people, and then those people were asking Concerned Ape to come out and denounce the people that were harassing the people, and then they didn't, and then they were like, well, I don't even care anymore, but you need to come out and denounce the people that are harassing the people, and just like, wow, okay. Good reasons to delete Twitter, in my opinion.
That's always the issue I've always had with these things, is that, like, he has nothing to do with any of this, and it's not... Like, he didn't start this fight.
Yeah.
Like, why is it his job to why is it always the developer's job to stop the fight? Like, I get it. Like, I get the idea, because you're like, okay, you're telling them, you're trying to stamp down it, and you're saying, like, well, if the creator stamps it down, then that makes it better. But this guy never talks to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, like, it's like if you're asking Google to, like, denounce things, but not, like, an employee at Google, but like the building,
right?
The building Google, like, hey, Google, the building, I need you to like denounce this thing. It's like that building doesn't talk, dude. It's got a thing on the outside that'll tell you what lunch they're serving inside today, but that's not what they're here for.
Yeah. That anyway, it's a tricky situation. There's more to it than what I said, and like there's a lot
of nuance to these conversations to begin with.
Yeah.
Like me saying what I said doesn't mean like that's like I don't want you guys to need it to get denounced, because there's too much nuance. Like there's no amount of time in the world that me or you could talk about this that wouldn't cover everything.
Sure.
It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of Google, let's maybe go to a lighter topic for the moment. Google made an oopsie.
Oh, I heard about this one.
I don't know if you saw this, but
I did, because people were making fun of it for like weeks now.
Google Play put out this is apparently something that people do on Twitter these days. They put out a tweet thread. It was like, Sonic, but as you scroll, he gets older and older. A thread. Google did not understand that you should not fuck with Sonic people.
Or it's obvious, like it was a bot that did this because of what happened.
Right. Because what happened here was that every tweet they put in this thread has an image attached to it, and every image is wrong.
Yes.
So like the first tweet that they made was 1991 Sonic, the cover rotund, husky, still fast as lightning, the actual game 8-bit glory. But then the screenshot has Tails running behind Sonic. This is from Sonic 2.
Yeah, that's Sonic 2 minimum.
So the Sonic community has come in with tweet notes to correct all of the incorrect information.
Yeah, this is tweet 1. It gets worse as it goes on.
Yeah, because the second one is 1993 Sonic. Okay, Short King. Even I know that this is a screenshot of Sonic from Sonic Boom, which came out like in 2014. Like,
yeah, it was like a long time, like not that long ago.
Yeah,
a whole cartoon show in 3D, by the way.
Yep. From there, it's like 1996 Sonic, and then it's like, nope, that's from the 2013 mobile game Sonic Dash.
Yeah, he looks like the movie version of him too.
2003 Sonic. Who needs running at the speed of light when you can hitchhike? And it's like, nope, this is from Sonic Jump, which came out in 2005. Like, whoever did this, just I don't know.
It had to be a bot.
Yeah,
because it keeps going, and like at one point, it's just an image from him from the movie.
Right.
But it's like, What?
Yeah.
What is happening?
It says 2020 Sonic. It was a strange year for us all. Let's just leave it at that. It's a picture of movie Sonic, but it was like this frame came from the second Sonic the Hedgehog movie that came out in 2022, not 2020. So
it's so fucking stupid.
It's real weird. Like, yeah, I don't know if an AI wrote this, but like I don't think an AI could do the image search. It's almost like somebody just banged this together but didn't bother. They were doing it from memory. Or like
that makes even less sense, though.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
None of it makes any sense. And the way I discovered it was a tweet being like this is why you shouldn't. You have a bot make your or like an AI, because people also think it was an AI, like maybe it was an AI doing these posts. This is why an AI shouldn't post. And then the other one was it was the Sonic the Hedgehog tweeter going, "What are you guys doing?
Stop!
Like what's happening here?
Please!"
It was so funny. It was so fucking funny.
Let's see. Escape from Tarkov had a controversy last week. So this is an online PvP extraction game, and
they fucked up bad.
Yep, they announced a PvE mode. Okay. So Escape from Tarkov sold a $100 version of their game that was supposed to, it said it was going to include all DLC moving forward.
Yes.
Then they announced they were going to make a PvE mode. That PvE mode was locked behind a $250 version of the game. It was not included in the $100 version of the game. There was a $150 upgrade charge you could do, or a $100 upgrade charge you could do from the previous one to the next one. When they were asked about it, they said, well, this isn't DLC. This is a whole new game mode. That's not DLC. No. Also, apparently, if you bought that $250 version, you got like an extra pouch like for your character.
It added a bunch of stuff to it, apparently.
That like would make it so that you were stronger against other people. So it's kind of a pay to win type of thing.
It just made it worse. The more you heard about it, the worse it got.
Yeah. Just the idea of spending $250 on any video game is like, I don't know, do you get a statue?
And also, the explanation for it makes even less sense, because it's like, oh, it's just a feature in the game. It's like, yeah, but that just means that it proves how much more of an early access this game is.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to spend $250 on an early access game ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a stupid amount of money. And their explanation just was like, well, we don't have the server space to give it to everyone.
Right.
It's like, what are we doing here?
Right.
What are you talking about? You're just saying things.
They did reverse it and said they were going to let everybody in on at least people that spent the $100 version, but they were going to do it a little bit at a time. They did, though, delist that $100 version. It's no longer available. Only the $250 version is available. They have not put that back up yet.
Also, they were like apparently editing their site like as they were making these explanations.
Yeah. I also want to be really careful with this one, because apparently this company has had a history of DMCAing YouTube videos who did nothing but just like say unkind things about Escape from Tarkov. So like, I'm not saying anything that's not true. I'm saying that these things happened and that people were mad about it.
They were very mad for good reason.
It's good that they rolled it back. And in my opinion, I think that they should keep ask some of your players before you do things like this. It
screams, I don't know what normal people do,
right?
Kind of thing. Like, they're like, you don't have $250? Like, what's wrong with you guys?
You guys have $250, right?
Yeah. The economy, it's in shambles, guys. I'm saying, like, no.
Let's see. Here's some bad news. This isn't controversial. This is just shit ass news.
Yes.
2K shut down. 2K is laying off a bunch of people in Washington, which means they have to file this thing called a warn notice that tells people they're going to get fired, because that's a civilized place for humans. Those 70 workers are basically everybody from Intercept Games. Intercept Games is the company that's making Kerbal Space Program 2. They have all been let go. That company has been fully dissolved. Apparently, Private Division, the publishing arm for indies of 2K, is going to take over updates, I say with quotey fingers, for Kerbal Space Program 2. That's not something that company can do. You need like a studio to do that.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Publishers don't make games. That's why they're publishers.
Yep. Also, this is some real shit, because there was an independent game studio that was making this game that 2K fucked to death.
Yes.
So they could have an internal studio doing it. And now, to appease their shareholders or whatever bullshit, they're killing Kerbal Space Program 2.
Yep.
Like
they keep saying it's not canceled, by the way.
Right.
That was the thing that Take-Two responded eventually. They're like, by the way, this doesn't mean that Take-Two. This doesn't mean that this thing's canceled. But like you said, the publisher, like that doesn't. They're not going to be able to do anything. Like Jim, you know, he on his during lunch, I've seen him draw. He knows what he's doing. So no, that's not how this. That's not what's happening here.
I'll believe it's not canceled when you showed me a roadmap with features and like a projected schedule. Because
like Tekken Cross Street Fighter.
Yeah. The Steam page for this is now overwhelmingly negative, and it's just like, 2K just took your money. This will never be finished.
It's never going to
It's just dead. Yeah. So, which would not surprise me, which is a shame because it had a really rough launch, but this is a really rough. This a complicated ass video game.
Yeah, the first one wasn't like complete from day one either.
It started very simple, and then they kept adding more to it. So
like this, like people were very excited for another Kerbal Space Program, and they were just building on top of it every time. And now, like I don't know what's going to happen from here on. That's just a bad move. It's just so stupid.
Same thing. We also found out that the studio behind Ollie Ollie, what is the name? Roll 7, has also been shut down. So this is the studio that made Ollie Ollie, and then they made Ollie Ollie World, and then they made Roller Drome was probably the last thing they made, that kind of like roller skating violent game on the PlayStation. Apparently they were an independent studio until like 2 years ago, where they like courted getting bought by a big company
every fucking time,
so that they could like, you know, we're tired of having to shop around for a publisher and for development money every time we make a new video game, so we'd like to hook up with a big publisher so that we know that we always have like the funding for our next game. Completely destroyed.
You guys have to stop doing this.
At the very least, yes, you should. The thing is that this has started to go beyond to the point where it's like, fuck you, 2K. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're engendering like hate in my heart for you, because like you're taking independent studios that make beloved games and destroying them. Like, you're intentionally destroying them so that you can get like a better stock price.
Well, the thing is, it used to just be like specific studios that were like, or not studios, specific companies that you knew were going to do that.
Yeah,
like EA, that was the running gag for a very long time. Is that EA has a graveyard of dead studios and just a lot of beloved IPs that they're never going to touch because those studios are dead.
Yep.
Activision was doing that for a while, except their version was like not the studios being dead. The studios were now in the Call of Duty bunker,
right,
making Call of Duty shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the gag for a very long time. So a lot of companies knew not to get bought by these companies because every time it happened, they were destined to die horribly or just have the worst reputation now, like BioWare,
right?
And then
or get shoved into projects they didn't want to do.
Exactly. And so a lot of people were fine with the idea of being bought by like, you know, companies that didn't have that rep, like PlayStation didn't have that rep, Xbox didn't have that rep.
Sure.
Take-Two, they didn't really have that rep, but they did have a rep of like being greedy. But they were greedy in the point where they weren't like shutting down things left and right.
Yeah.
The problem is that ever since the past, like, what, it's been 2-3 years at this point?
It started last year. It started early last year.
Yeah. It's just been like every single company is now just doing it.
It's a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. And the thing is that I'm not even the biggest, I'll be honest, it's a cynical way to look at it, but I look at it from like, okay, they shut down this game company. Obviously, it's a tragedy. People got laid off, et cetera, et cetera. Do I like their video games? If yes, I'm a little bit more invested than if no. That's cynical, but that's just kind of the way that I've evaluated.
Well, that's everybody. That's how people think about things. If it affects me personally, then of course I'm going to take it personally.
Right.
But if it's like, oh, they made Hello Kitty Island Adventure, I'm like, well, I was never going to play that. Like, so of course I'm not bummed out by that.
But this is just like you're starting to get into these where you're like, Embracer fucked it up. Like they fucked so many little studios, and then stuff like this where you're just like, oh yeah, we killed a studio in order to poach people, in order to create an internal studio to make Kerbal Space Program 2, and it didn't make us enough money, so now we're fucking just killing the entire project and lying to you about it. And it's just like, dude, like, can you dial the evil down by like 50%? I'm used to some evil, but this is like all evil.
It's consistently
like,
all evil.
Shit. Speaking of places shutting down, this is another kind of tragedy. Kaioken Interactive, the people who made Deliver Us Moon and Deliver Us Mars, they basically had to lay off everybody.
Jesus, that sucks.
They couldn't find any investors they have the third part of those games is supposed to be a game called Deliver Us Home, and they couldn't find any investors.
Oh, Jesus. In fact, that's the opposite of problem.
Yep. They even made is this the one where they said, they even made they made a concept video with 5 game prototypes and then just put it out at GDC to be like, we are looking for investors.
Yes.
Any of these will be fine.
Please help us.
So they basically had to lay off everybody except for the upper tier of management. They put out a little thing basically saying hey, we really want these people to have jobs. We're going to come back and try to rebuild the company by kickstarting Deliver Us Home from the ground up.
Okay.
Like a one brick at a time. We're going to try to kind of put it all back together again.
That's a shame.
Yeah. So, whoop. Ooh, got to go faster. Here's some. This is some strangely bad news. So last week we had the Fallout 4 update that happened.
Yes.
This is bullshit on Steam. Apparently on Steam, it broke every mod. None of the Fallout 4 mods worked anymore. It also, on consoles, weird shit happened. Somebody was saying that on the Xbox, if you change the frame rate, it doesn't actually change the frame rate. You'll be in performance mode and you'll switch to quality and it'll just stay in performance mode.
That's crazy.
On the PSN for a little while there, if you had redeemed Fallout 4 in that PS5 launch bundle that they gave out, you couldn't update for free. You had to buy the game in order to update, even if you had it in your library. They fixed that.
Jesus.
There's all kinds of problems happening to the point where right now the most downloaded Fallout 4 mods on Nexus Mods are one that tells Steam not to update Fallout 4, it spoofs the version number so that it won't update.
Oh, okay.
And the second most popular one is one where if you've already done the update, it rolls you back to the previous version of the game because Bethesda just... How are you going to release an update that breaks all the mods for Fallout? That's why people play Fallout, is for the mods, you fuckers.
My favorite thing about when they did that was the tweet. They're like, I'm glad all the new Fallout fans are getting the great Bethesda experience.
Right.
Of breaking everything.
Yeah,
because fuck me.
Last week I had a story where Nexus Mods was being overloaded because people were downloading all the different Fallouts, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to mod it to fix that shit, but...
Yeah, and then the other thing is that, they apparently... I didn't know about this for a long time, but they made, a full-blown... new campaign Fallout using a bunch of mods.
Fallout London?
Yeah, just before they fucking...
Oh, yeah. And this broke the ability for that to work.
Entirely.
So, yeah.
It's fucked, guys.
Yep.
It's just fucked.
Now, who knows if they'll fix it? Maybe. I'll tell you what, though. Good news in the Fallout realm. The Amazon Prime show is the second most watched show ever on Amazon Prime.
Good for them.
Went above The Boys and all that stuff.
That's crazy.
Do you know what number 1 is?
I assume it's that Lord of the Rings one, right?
Yeah, which everybody was just like, "What a flop!" It was a total failure, and it's actually the most watched show that's ever come out on Amazon,
which is crazy to me. I didn't even know people thought it was a flop. I just assumed it did really well.
I don't know.
I guess because they didn't announce more of it or something. I don't know.
Maybe
it cost more than it was bringing in.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's see. In other Bethesda news, this is really interesting. They put out an update for Starfield. And there's some cool stuff in here.
Really?
Yeah. Some really cool stuff. I'm happy that Starfield is getting some love. So they talked about one of the things they put out is they redid all the maps. So the maps are now readable.
Oh.
This is what the maps look like. They're fully 3D. They've got little icons in places. Now, if you're in a city and you turn on your vision, you can see these big dots where everything is.
That's actually a really great quality of life. That
way better.
Yes. How was that not? How was that not a thing? But this is Bethesda we're talking about.
Here's another thing. They've got a bunch of new things that you can switch that are different, basically difficulty modifiers and stuff. But then they've got things here, cargo access distance. Anywhere near ship, on ship, so you could literally set it so that you could just put shit in your ship from anywhere. Here's another one.
The XP though.
Yes, carry capacity greatly increased. Stuff that you should be able to do by default. It does suck that they adjust the XP gain a little bit, but yeah, still. That's better than nothing.
Yeah, it'll make it playable.
Yep.
Is the idea.
Here's another one. This is I'm talking about the combat difficulty that they've upgraded. Also, I don't know who this lady is, but she is a fucking replicant. She talks like I'll have to show you. She is the most unnatural speaker I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, now I'm curious.
So here is a rad thing, Michael. They put the outpost customization stuff works in the ship. So now in your ship, you can put like furniture and rugs, and you can pick stuff up, and you can put stuff down, and you can make the inside of your ship look like you want it to look.
I'm still shocked that wasn't a thing as well.
Me too. They added a new module to the ship that is an empty module, so you could just decorate it the way that you want.
That's fun.
Instead of having it be like specifically like a science module or a gun module or something like that. So now you can like decorate your ship, which I'm like, yes, great. Why not at the beginning?
This is the thing about Starfield that like I will consistently say is that we never should have expected it to be like this great finished game at the beginning. Yep. I don't know why any of us thought in any capacity that this game would have been like considered a finished game when it first came out.
They also talk about stuff you can do at the end of the game. They're also putting out a performance mode on the Xbox version, 6 frames per second. This is currently in the beta branch on Steam. You can make it so you don't have to zoom into the person's face when you do dialogue. And then at the very end, we got a tease for they're putting in a car, a ground rover for driving around on places in the next update. They're also getting ready to put out this big update that's coming later this year. I maintain that Starfield could be a very good game once they get done fixing all the bullshit that they left unfinished.
They're getting a lot of feedback.
They need they need 2 years worth of No Man's Skying, and I believe that this would probably end up being a better game. So let's see. In other Microsoft news, Xbox sales are fucking horrible right now.
God.
Apparently, they're down 30% year over year.
Whoa, my God. That's horrible.
Well, think about it. They haven't put anything out that people really want to play outside of Starfield, and that kind of tanked.
That's true.
So, like, there hasn't been a new Halo update. There hasn't been a new Gears update. That Indiana Jones game isn't out. Like, they haven't put anything out that would make people want desperately to have an Xbox. It's not like they're even adding new stuff to backwards compatibility, which I think could be a way to get people to buy an Xbox.
That would really help if they did that.
But yeah, down 30%. Makes sense why they're putting all... Sea of Thieves came out on the PS5 this week.
That's so crazy.
Like...
Oh my God. They've spent billions on stuff, and they've got very little to show for it outside of a lot of Game Pass games.
They are showing, though, we did find some information, though, that kind of gives us an idea that most of the Xbox stuff is probably coming out later this year. So Starfield's expansion comes out in November. Right now, September. The new Call of Duty, which should be late October, since that's now a Microsoft thing. Yeah. Avowed and Flight Simulator 2024 in November. And then right now, the Indiana Jones game is set for December.
Okay.
But that's like, you guys are really going to go through all of 2024 with no games? Like, you just put them all at the very end of the year? I guess.
And one of them is Microsoft Flight Simulator.
True. Which people like, but like, how much of an upgrade is it going to be from the last one? You guys are still doing updates to the last one right now.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
We also got confirmation June 9th that Xbox is doing a Microsoft showcase and a Call of Duty showcase. This is near Summer Games Fest. Starts on June 7th. So this is like basically E3.
Okay.
And so we'll probably be seeing what that new Call of Duty is, as well as the trailers and the official release dates for the rest of stuff in June. Let's see. We got 5 minutes. We're going to go... I think a lot of this stuff is real fast. There's new Dune skin for Call of Duty. It costs $40 and you don't even get to see the dude's face.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, you got to buy both of the $20 packs in order to get this skin, so it technically costs $40, and it's a sealed up still suit, so you don't even see the person's face.
That's so weird.
Kingdom Hearts might be getting a movie. There is a rumor. an animated movie. Apparently, this is not the first time, and it's not anything more than a rumor, but it is a confirmed rumor that we might be getting a Kingdom Hearts animated movie at some point. I'm going to say right now, for the record, I would be more interested in watching Kingdom Hearts than I ever will be in playing Kingdom Hearts.
That's true. Apparently, it almost got a TV show, though, if you remember when that leaked.
This story talked about that as well. So, Square Enix is all fucked up. Apparently, this year, they're down $140 million in profit, because think of what last year was.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Last year for Square Enix, let me just remind everybody, was Forspoken, Diofield Chronicle, Valkyrie Elysium, and Star Ocean, the Divine Force, and let's not forget Foam Stars. Oh. So, which one of those did you play all the way through, Michael?
Yeah, that's true.
Apparently, the new CEO, the new young CEO, internally, it's a bloodbath at Square Enix. A lot of projects are getting canceled, and a lot of teams are being told, and a lot of, the old guard is being told, no, you cannot make something like Diofield Chronicle. You will be making DLC for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Or you'll be making something that is commercially viable, not Foam Stars.
I can't blame him, outside of the thing that he decided to push forward with the NFT ones.
Yes.
Which is, even stupider.
Yeah, I think they're finally starting to feel the burn of, oh yeah, man, we're always good. It's no, make that Final Fantasy Tactics remake. Put that shit out immediately. I don't care if we have to just do nothing but Final Fantasy remakes for the next 2 years. We need money.
I feel bad for the guy, because if he would have shown up before they sold all those studios to Embracer, a lot of those viable games would be being made right now.
Possibly. Okay, so this is the projection. The 140 million is a projection of losses that they're going to take from scrapping projects, dissolving teams, and doing stuff.
That's so fucked.
But you know what? I'm actually slightly hopeful, because this means that somebody is fucking making cuts at Square, which they've needed to make for a while now.
Yeah, they weren't very smart about their decisions.
Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 16. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's what they got.
Those are the big three that they got out of it
for the last few years. So, no time. Well, here, let me just. Let's do some quick cuts. Let's do that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Yeah. Okay. Quick cuts. Here we are, Michael. BlizzCon 2024 is canceled.
I keep forgetting BlizzCon is a thing, because they keep canceling it lately.
They're going to be doing smaller events throughout the year. Good riddance. You guys have phones, right? Watch it on your phones. Dragon's Dogma 2 had a path tracing mode that has been unearthed by data miners that you can turn on in the PC version. That is really interesting. It makes the game look really, really good, but it's very inconsistent. And it was probably just in a prototype before the game actually came out. It also runs it runs at 40 frames per second on a 4090.
Oh, damn.
So
that explains why they scrapped it.
It was never optimized, and it was never great, but it's interesting to see. Digital Foundry did a whole video showing it. I really hope that someday maybe we can get a version of the game that looks like that, because it looks really nice.
I bet you mods are working off of that framework now.
Yep. RTX Remix, that tool that NVIDIA put out for remixing old games, has done some updates. One of them is ray reconstruction, which is something where, and when the ray tracing happens, it goes in and basically smooths out kind of the rays of light to make sure that it's not kind of raggedy and dirty. Also, they added, this is going to be a weird sentence that I don't think I would ever say. They added DirectX 8 support. So it used to be that to get DirectX 8 games into this, you had to go through a conversion pipeline. But now you can go directly from DirectX 8 games into the RTX remix mode.
Oh, that's fine.
Which I'm really hoping this stuff comes up and is good. So, and then let's see, before we jump out of here, I'm going to save that one for later. You remember Cyberpunk 2077? You know, Phantom Liberty?
Yeah.
So CD Projekt Red put out some interesting stats about the way that people died in Phantom Liberty, and the most people died to that giant mech. Spider mech
one thing that we did, yeah.
And then the second most was the spider mech at the end of the game, and then the third most lethal thing was the jumping puzzle at the beginning to get into the Dogtown.
Oh, really?
3 million people died to the big tank boss. 2.8 million people died when trying to platform their way through that section of the game.
That's amazing. I love everything about that.
It makes me feel way less bad about dying there.
It's true. We died pretty hard at that part.
And then last but not least, have you seen this thing with Eddie Gordo and Tekken 8? Some guy set up a bot on Twitch that is playing Eddie Gordo with a Python script that just presses one button. It just presses the 3 attack over and over and over again, and it doesn't do anything else. And it's been running for days, and apparently it's reached like mid ranks in the the ranking, because people don't know how to deal with just like this one kind of difficult attack over and over again. And it just does that over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I love that it shows that it does it even in the win screen.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I've seen some fun bot stuff. One of my favorites is the guy who was fighting a guy who was either using a bot or just cheating in some way. And so it was designed to, like, every time he tried doing, like, very complicated things, it would, like, counter it. But if you just kept punching him over and over again, it didn't know what to do. So that's how people would win against it.
Well, I watched a little bit. Apparently this bot has gotten stuck because the guy was like, I literally did nothing else. I said that one thing, I go to work, I come home and I see what the win-loss ratio is. But like they've now reached the like level of ranking where I went to go watch a few matches today. There's a guy that was like, okay, I know what this combo is. Block, 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 block. There's your opening. Counterattack, do a giant combo, kick your ass. Perfect. Like it was more just like, it's almost like a skill check. Like, if you know how to block and counterattack, like it shouldn't be a problem. But if you're overly aggressive, you're probably going to get caught by this thing over and over again. So
that's fucking great.
Yep.
Tekken is the gift that keeps on giving.
It is. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. I think I only cut one story, and so much news and controversy. Yeah. And now we're in the home stretch of trailers and fun stuff. So stick around. We'll be right back. We're back, and we've got a bunch of trailers. When we left, we were talking about Eddie Gordo, but we've got some more fighting game news. We got a trailer for the Akuma.
Yes.
Okay, have you watched this trailer?
I have.
Okay, can I ask you a question about this trailer?
Go for it.
Is this trailer bad? It's just not very exciting compared to a lot of the other Street Fighter trailers I feel like I've seen.
It isn't a great trailer. Like a lot of the other trailers like really emphasize some of the other character traits that are going on.
Yeah.
But all they show for Akuma is just like, these are kind of cool moves, I guess. But they don't even feel as flashy as you want them to be.
Yeah.
Is the other issue with it. Like, I don't know. There's just something off about, like, I'm not, like, as hyped as I should be for seeing Akuma beat up people.
It seems like a lot of the parts when you see the actual Akuma gameplay are more like the old Smash videos where they're explaining how individual moves work, as opposed to like you said, like the hype, like the flashy hype that we've seen in other trailers. Because it starts out pretty well with all this like cutscene stuff, but then when it gets to the actual like fighting stuff, it's like, do you want to watch Akuma punch Ryu a bunch of times?
Yeah, just a whole lot of punching Ryu over and over again,
and not even like very well like zoomed in or like flashy or anything. Just he's got a fireball. He's got a kick. He's got
like, he looks really cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like the way his attacks and stuff are, but I don't feel like they're emphasizing it the way they should be, or even have in the other trailers they've done. Yeah,
that was what was confusing to me. Was I just like more cuts in previous trailers as opposed to these extended, just showing individual moves. It would be like tighter cuts and stuff. I don't know. It was very weird looking at it, because some of it was kind of interesting. They showed that he's got
also a lot of the other ones trailers had them fighting multiple people.
Right.
This is just him beating up on Ryu.
Yeah. They do show he's got an alternate costume that's like the young version.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that a lot of people will be super into. And then they do show his, what do they call that thing at the end?
His Raging Demon?
Gabillion hits, this thing.
I love the version of this. Yeah. It's like really cool. Like somebody slowed it down.
Yeah.
And it shows like just how much intricate it is.
Uh-huh.
And it just looks really cool. I don't think it's as cool as the Street Fighter V one is, though. Because that one is this like everything goes dark, and then every time it's like it lights up, it's him punching him over and over again.
Oh,
and that looks really cool.
Yeah,
but that one looks more like a mindfuck kind of thing.
Yeah,
than it does like anything else, and which is cool, but also not as cool, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and then he's got this one other like super that's cinematic looking, where he just punches him on the ground really hard. I'm like, that you guys could have done a lot more with that, but that's a shame.
Yeah, seems like a little bit less impressive than I would have thought.
Which is weird to say about Akuma of all people.
Right. They also showed off, actually, strangely, the trailer for all of the cosmetic stuff was a little bit more dramatically cut.
Yes, it was. When you watch like a Akuma you get from Wish fight things.
Yeah, with all the character cosmetics as opposed to the Akuma at home version.
Like, it's cool they got the wings from, X-Men versus Street Fighter, Cyber Akuma, but like that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That this trailer is like so cinematic.
Yeah,
because it is the character creator one, so it's just weird looking. So you get like a weird looking Akuma. It's just, I don't know, it's so strange.
Off-model Akuma.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. From there, Michael, I got these all for you. We got a new Dragon Ball Sparking Zero trailer. This is called the Master and Apprentice trailer. It's got a bunch of masters with apprentices.
Yes, it does. And I was very hyped watching this trailer for one reason and one reason only.
Is that
Gohan is all right.
Uh-huh.
And by that I mean that he only has one arm. Because every other game that had future Gohan in it, for the most part, they would have him have both his arms still. But he would fight as if he only had one arm. And I never understood why they would I was like, just take the fucking arm at that point. And they finally were like, okay, he doesn't have the fucking arm. I'm like, yes, finally. And I think that's really cool that they finally are doing that.
So you got Piccolo and
Piccolo and Kid Gohan, because that was the trainer thing.
Master Roshi,
Yamcha, and Krillin, because that's also the trainer thing.
Sure.
And then Whis and Beerus, because or actually, I guess I skipped one, which is the Teen Gohan and Videl.
Okay.
Because he taught her for like a hot minute there. And then Whis and Beerus, because Whis is Beerus is a master. And then the last one was Future Gohan and Future Trunks, because Future Gohan lost his arm at some point. And I'm just happy that like for the first time in one of these games, he's legitimately doesn't have the arm.
I gotta say, like, I think that the like cell shading effects they've got, I think they might even look better than Fighters.
They look great.
They look really solid. It's about as solid as I've ever seen this style look in any game,
especially an arena fighter one. Yeah, because they've been making this game for a long time. Apparently, it was being basically made in secret. Like, nobody knew it was being made for like 5 or 6 years. Apparently,
yeah.
Like, I think it's because people were so focused on Xenoverse 2 and Fighters that they never even realized they were making it.
Yeah,
and I think that's really cool.
Yep.
And it looks great. Like you said, all the character models look fantastic.
They really do.
And they blend in with the backgrounds better than I thought they would. Like, I think this game is going to be fucking great. I'm so fucking excited.
Yeah, it actually, like, I think that in the beginning I was a little bit more hesitant about the backgrounds, but it's interesting because I think this is the first trailer that I've seen a lot more people on land as opposed to just flying through the air, and I think that it looks better there than it did maybe with just the kind of like rock background places that they normally have.
Like, I want to see more of the background stuff with some of these more characters. I'm very excited. The more stuff they release on it, the more excited I get.
And it's coming out this year, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. From there, I was really hoping to have a good transition to be like, so Michael gets an anime game and Jeff gets an anime game, because they're making That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime Isekai Chronicles game, and I was like, oh, I love The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. And they show the main character, and they're like, yeah, we can show you all this stuff, and then they show what the combat looks like, and I'm like, oh, this is shit. This is dog shit.
Oh, what the fuck?
This looks like garbage.
What is this supposed to be?
This is the combat part. So
no, but like, what is it that it's doing? Like, is it just a side?
I think it's some kind of like action side scroller or RPG. I don't know. It's unclear, but like,
it's like a Game Boy game.
It looks like the characters are like the kind of chibi version of character. They're not quite fully chibi-fied. They're like between chibi and regular.
Yeah.
And it sucks. I hate it. Like, it just looks bad. Well, like, I don't want to do that part of, the game.
It reminds me of like what you would see in a handheld version of a game like this. Like, why is it like this?
I don't know. But then there's like, they show off that there's like a village building part. And what sucks is that the guy that wrote the manga is writing 2 new original stories that are going to be in this game. And I'm like, well, I would like to play those, but I don't want to play this horse shit.
You're just going to have to watch them on YouTube, Jeff.
Nope. I'm just going to have to skip it and live my life like I normally do. So
that's so weird. That's such a strange thing to do with a game like that.
It's just a real shame because some of it, like the cutscenes that they've done, look really nice. But like the combat part looks like total shit. So, oh well. That's September, I think.
I also didn't see a slime in that entire trailer.
Well, that's this character. That's Rimuru. He turns into this character from a slime to this character.
They should have showed the slime at some point.
They do. I skipped over part of the trailer, but there's certain points in the trailer when the main character is fighting, they look like that. But then, like a lot of times, they'll kind of revert back to the little individual slime. So, and because it's kind of an action trailer, you don't see it as much. But there's a few points where you see in the base building part where you see like little slime run around and stuff. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
What a disappointment. Speaking of disappointing, another anime news. We got the launch trailer for Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Sweep the Board, which is like, why would you make a Demon Slayer game, Michael, when you could make a Demon Slayer Mario Party? Because that's what this is.
It just reminds me of the joke I made when they announced this one, where you were like, I'm tired of arena fighter games, anime games, and the monkey paw went down. And it's only to Jeff specifically, which is why it's funnier to me.
Yeah, the only My Hero Academia games are arena fighters. Actually,
and then there's the battle royale one.
There was a Demon Slayer game that was a third-person action game.
Was there?
Yes, but it basically just followed like the first season of storyline.
I didn't realize that.
Amanda and I played it a little while back, and I was like, well, yeah, but that's the thing with me with the monkey paw with anime games is I don't want to watch I don't want to watch the story that I've already watched.
Yeah.
I've already watched that story. I want to play a new story, like a spin-off of some sort. So,
okay. That makes sense.
But I don't know. I mean, like, it's fine as a Mario Party, I guess.
Yeah, that's such a strange one to do that
for. Got mini games. It goes all the way through the Swordsmith Village arc.
There's so many slice of life animes you could have done that with.
Yeah, I guess.
This one specifically.
Well, this one also, I mean, like, there's a part of this trailer was literally showing, like, then the sun comes down, and then you have to do demon fight mini games, and it's like, I mean, I guess, but that's not what I want to do. It's not what I want.
What if it had a dancing mechanism that played a Han Solo every time you did that part?
No, it's not what I want.
What if it was Kinect based?
No. Anyway, speaking of games that are full of references, did you watch this abomination of
I did not.
This is the Funko Fusion reveal trailer. They had announced this a little while back, but we're finally seeing like a full-on trailer. So Funko is owned by Warner Brothers, which means this is one of those things where it's like, we can use all the Warner Brothers, no, not Warner Brothers, like
it's a Universal. Yeah.
We can use all the Universal properties in a big multiverse mashup where there's like some kind of Funko guy that's trying to destroy the world, and then all of the different properties of all of the properties are being made into Funkos, and then there's individual levels. So it's things like The Thing, or Hot Fuzz, or Jaws, or Battlestar Galactica.
What the fuck is happening?
Or there's even a brief moment where they show like Umbrella Chronicles. I'm like, what?
What the fuck is happening?
Like, yeah, and it's apparently like a third-person kind of action game. He-Man. That's the end of the first season of Umbrella Chronicles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's like, remember when they made that Lego?
That's what I was gonna say. It reminds me of that the Lego. I don't even remember the name of it anymore.
Lego Dimensions or whatever it was. Yeah.
Except like somehow stupider.
You know what that? Did you catch that one?
No, I didn't.
Because that is.
Oh,
Nope.
That's Nope, yeah.
That's the end of Nope.
What the fuck?
Like, why would you even have Nope in what would be the point?
Okay,
It's not an action
I don't know what's happening.
movie. Like, I can understand like The Thing and maybe even Hot Fuzz, but like
Back to the Future.
Nope.
Like what?
Like, what are you doing? I don't even know what that one was.
I don't even know what that one was. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like very weird.
Invincible?
Yep. And Five Nights at
Knight Rider, I
Freddy's
guess,
and Mithrigan. Like, it's got a lot of like
This feels like somebody's monkey's paw wish.
The Mummy, Voltron.
Megan? Did you see that?
Yeah, I said it. Mithrigan, yeah.
It's crazy how bloody it is too.
Yep.
By the way, there's a lot of death and shit in this trailer.
Scott Pilgrim is
that
part
I did
of
not
this?
expect from a Funko Pop game.
Yep. I don't know what the hell this is, but it's coming out September 13th. You guys just gotta go watch the trailer. I swear to God, it's
watch
weird
this trailer.
as shit.
It's not what I expected every time.
Oh, and Jurassic World, in case I didn't mention it.
There's a lot of stuff. Well, there's a lot of stuff we didn't mention because it flashed so many of them.
Yeah.
Xena popped up, I think, at one point. And then I saw the Knight Rider logo. There's the Knight Rider logo there
Chucky
on the left.
in there.
Yeah, you see the Knight Rider
Five
on the
Nights
left.
at
Xena's on
Freddy's,
the right, under the 13. You can see the Xena logo.
Oh, here. Yeah, I think
There's
that's Xena
Voltron.
right there.
I think it's the new Voltron.
Yep.
It's Shaun of the Dead.
Very weird. Very
I'm
weird.
so confused.
Very
as to
strange.
Was that Five Nights at Freddy's? You mentioned that one?
FNAF. Yep. Is there any chance this could be good?
Maybe is the thing.
I'm thinking probably not.
Well, the reason I say maybe is because the fact that they're willing to be bloody with it, has potential.
Yeah.
But the problem is
Universal might not know what they're doing and have given these guys a blank check.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
The big problem is that Funko Pops are an abomination to stare at,
right,
for long periods of time, and then now them moving is going to be very strange.
Just get them dead eyes.
Yeah. I don't see this. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say.
Fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking weird, we got a teaser for a new Alien game. Game based on the Alien franchise. Because we haven't had enough bad Aliens games over the last few years. This is Alien Rogue Incursion. There's nothing in this teaser. It's just the Alien logo coming out like it does.
Slowly happening.
VR game.
Oh. We've been getting a lot of VR announcements lately.
PSVR 2, MetaQuest 3, and Steam. I do think that an Alien game could be so the thing is that if this is a VR game, it means it's not a tactics game.
Yes.
It's not an extraction shooter like the last two games that we had.
That's true.
So maybe it'll be interesting because could be like Alien Isolation, but in VR.
That would be cool.
Which I played a VR mod for Alien Isolation.
Really?
Back on my DK2, my Oculus Quest DK2, and that shit was fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that could be really cool. As long as they know what they're doing, it could be really cool. But it would be really funny if it just turned into an office simulator. You just work at Wayland Yutani.
What was it if you're the captain, you're the Tom Skerritt in the first Alien, but you're like, okay, guys, nobody touch any of those eggs. Just get the ore. And then they're like, you won. You didn't fuck with the eggs.
You didn't do anything didn't fuck with those eggs.
Let's move on to aliens. And you're like, I think we should nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
Just from the beginning.
Just fuck it. Fuck this place. I ain't doing this shit.
Yep. So, yeah. Let's see. From there, we got a Earth Defense Force 6 pre-order trailer.
Yay. It's finally coming out here.
Yep. It's weird because it's styled like a news broadcast. It starts with a commercial where there's just a guy blowing himself up, and it's like, has this ever happened to you? Call the law firm of fucking blah, 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 blah. And then it goes to a newscast where they're talking about the Earth Defense Force and stuff. And I think they're trying to kind of capitalize a little bit on the Helldivers.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a Helldivers type idea.
But it's really not good.
No.
It's really poorly acted. These people are obviously developers or kind of C-grade people from The Office or whatever. I mean, it's not like Earth Defense Force is known for its wonderful acting.
No.
But, nobody's going to be quoting these guys, whereas the Oh Sweet Liberty guy is a meme already. So
that guy is the best. I love how that guy is. Apparently, somebody I know knows who voiced that guy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Earth Defense Force 6, I'm more than happy to play. You guys don't have to do shenanigans. You could just do a trailer.
Yeah. People are already excited about this. You don't it's just a shame.
Oh, there's waifus,
okay,
little chibi waifu balloon animated things that will attract the bugs. That was a thing that they showed. I don't know who these characters are.
That's kind of fun. I think they're just their own I assume they're doing.
Wasn't there something like that in that stupid mech game that you and I played? Wasn't there a little waifu thing or was it just the heads?
There were things you could wear, but I don't know.
On the mech.
I don't know if there was a weapon for them.
Yeah, but that's coming out
July.
July? What is that? April, May, June, July.
Yeah. 7/4.
So there, yeah. Let's see. From there, we got a trailer for Sins of a Solar Empire 2. But this game has been out on the Epic Game Store for a while. It is now coming to Steam. So it's still, I believe, going to be in early access, but it's going to be on Steam. I desperately, desperately wish that I liked these types of games. I like the part with all the spaceships. I don't like the part where you have to administer a bunch of planets.
Yeah. That's always that's always the thing that annoys me about these games.
Yeah.
Like they sound cool on paper, but then you see it and you're like, oh, I don't want to do it with any of that shit.
Yeah. I bought that Star Trek game they shut down and was going through the tutorial and I'm just like, oh God, there's so many buttons. I don't know.
You have to really be into that sort of thing to really get into them.
It looks really cool though. Like the game itself, like the graphics and everything look nice. It's just, it looks too complicated.
No.
and even if I did want to play this game, Michael, I would never in a million years put it on RageSelect. It would just be like, no, thank you.
It would be really boring to watch somebody play it.
Yep. Let's see. From there, this is an indie game. I actually think this isn't there's no good segue here. It's a game called Beyond Galaxy Land. Mm-hmm. And the premise of it is that you're like a regular guy and then Earth gets destroyed and then you get sent to this planet called Beyond Galaxy Land that is a place where they send people that don't have a world anymore. And then you kind of are going on an adventure to kind of find the secrets of this world and talk to people and do some kind of action platforming and stuff. It's pixel based. It's kind of a 2D side scroller, 2.5D side scroller maybe would be a better way to put it. It's got a lot of charm and character and I think it looks kind of interesting. A lot of crazy alien weirdness going on and I think it looks good. Like I kind of had it there and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to put this on, but I want to take a look at it. But it looks like a funky space adventure.
Yeah, it's a fun premise already by default. And I think that's and there's a lot of really cool design work here going on. Yeah. And the animations are pretty good for the most part.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, check that out. Looks pretty rad. Let's see. From there, we got the launch trailer for Sea of Thieves on the PS5.
Oh, fun.
Sea of Thieves is going to be on the PS5, or Sea of Thieves actually is out now on the PS5. For anybody who's been waiting, apparently it's like the top pre-order thing on the PlayStation right now.
I'm not surprised by that, though. It's like it's such a not finished, but like it's got so much going on it that people... Yeah, they could spend hours on this thing now.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are plenty of people who only have a PlayStation that have been like, I really would like to play that game, but I'm not going to buy an Xbox just to play that one game. And it's not like
you saw the sales for that Xbox.
Yeah, it has any other games I want to play. So apparently it has the Pirates of the Caribbean DLC.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask if it had any of those expansions because there's that, and then there was the
Monkey Island
one. Yeah.
They don't mention the Monkey Island one, but they do specifically call out the Pirates of the Caribbean one, which is nice. So, yeah, go get Sea of Thieves. I mean, it's cool for what it is. It's cool if you want to play it with friends. I don't know how it works by yourself at this point.
Yeah,
that was kind of my big sticking point, but it's a mature game. It is. Been around for a while. It's got a lot of the edges sanded off, and it's had a lot of work done to it.
And people really liked it when it came out, even before it got all the other stuff in it. So
it wouldn't still be around if everybody hated it, right?
That's true. Yeah.
At the beginning, I think there was a lot of oh, this is just going to be a thing where Twitch streamers will play it, but it's held on for 5 years now or something.
I've also seen a lot of really funny videos that have come out of people playing it.
Yeah.
There's that one specific one that I see all the time where it's these guys just fucking around and they after getting all this treasure and then there's a guy going, oh my god. He's like, what? And he turns, there's this ship just hauling ass towards them. They're like, fuck. But the best part about it is whoever edited it starts playing the Pirates of the Caribbean faster as the ship gets closer. It kills me every time.
That's funny. We got this announcement trailer. This is here for a very specific reason, Michael. This is a VR game called Hide the Corpse.
This was a lot of... I did watch this because I saw it on the link. And I'm like, I want to see what this is. And it looks like a lot of fun.
You've got a corpse. It's kind of 70s themed, and you're trying to hide the corpse before the cops get there. The reason I point this out is you watch this, It sounds almost exactly like Matt Berry is doing the narration.
It sounds very similar to Matt Berry.
I don't know if it is Matt Berry, but it sounds like, I was like, is that Matt Berry?
I don't think it is, but it sounds really close.
It's very close. It's like having Laszlo like comment on your body hiding skills, which I don't think that part is going to be in the game, but it's a clever trailer. So, and it's also kind of a clever premise. Trying to manhandle a body somewhere where it won't get
and like how some of it's
found.
like you could probably like pretend he's alive kind of thing,
right?
So, like, I'm like that just sounds like fun.
And this is a Kickstarter that's currently going on.
Yeah.
So yeah. We got plenty of time now. Shouldn't have rushed last time. I put this in here as a bit of a joke, and then I saw what it was. Hello Kitty Island Adventure has the month of Meh. And as an ongoing event, and so that means it's all Gudetama.
Oh my god!
Because Gudetama is like meh, the little egg yolk. So it's like costumes and mini games and like outfits and stuff that are all based around Gudetama. So
I always forget that Hello Kitty Island Adventure is a real game now, because that's the thing a lot of people forget. It wasn't a game when that South Park episode happened.
Yep.
And this was like years ago.
It was a World of Warcraft episode.
This was like a decade ago, and like in Hello Kitty Island Adventure is not that old.
It's like 2 years, a year, maybe.
Yeah, somebody was like, we have to make that game because that is a fantastic fucking name for a game.
Even though at this point the meme is completely dead, like it's gone.
No,
right?
The meme is long dead because that episode is very very old at this point.
Yep.
But I still carry the torch of using it as a name that I'll just say randomly.
But yeah, they got the crazy Gudetama Hello Kitty crossover.
That's so fucking weird.
Fortnite's going hard on Legos right now. Or Fortnite's going hard on Star Wars right now.
Yes.
We got there's a new thing called Rebel Adventure, which is for Lego Fortnite that is specifically, I think it's funny where it's like, okay, so you had Legos and you had Star Wars, and they made all those Lego Star Wars games, and they stopped making those games, and they made Legos in Fortnite. And now there's Star Wars and the Legos that are in Fortnite. Yeah. So it's got to be the easiest thing in the world to do DLC for.
Somehow Lego Star Wars returned.
They've got 1 billion assets for Lego Star Wars. It's a cute trailer where they show like a Star Destroyer crashes, and then the character from the Lego place goes to check it out, and it's all like stormtroopers building like little command centers and stuff. And then they chase them away, and then their friends give them a lightsaber, and it's like the end. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of Star Wars. I mean, May the 4th is coming up. In fact, this will be out. What do I say? It's a Friday. It'll be out the day before this comes out. So they're going to have a bunch of stuff in Fortnite for that. And this, I think, is just like, oh, you're going to be able to take those skins into Lego Fortnite as well. Pretty fun.
It's a Lego Blue Moke.
Yep.
Yeah, they're adding a few more things to that too, I think.
Also, we got the launch date for Star Wars Hunters.
Oh, I forget that's still happening.
That dumb online, like, kind of team-based battle thing.
A friend of mine worked on that game, actually.
Yeah. I think it's launching specifically on the Switch at first.
I remember that was the thing that confused people, that it was a Switch game.
Yeah.
And then... Yeah, but I'd almost forgot it existed.
Yep.
Because we weren't really seeing anything on it.
So yeah, they had a little like pre-rendered trailer where they talk about it, and it's coming out June the 4th.
Okay.
So there you go. Let's see. Let's wrap up with a few quick things. We're gonna have a lot of extra time. We also found out that Lando is coming to Star Wars or to Fortnite.
Yeah, which I'm surprised was not already a thing.
And that also I like the little instrument for the rock band stuff that's there. But my favorite thing, Michael, is that they have a drum kit that is a bunch of the helmets of the stormtroopers, like that the Ewoks obviously ate at the end of Return of the Jedi.
I kind of want it. I don't even play that mode, but I kind of want it.
Yeah, I kind of want it too.
Because I think you can still use them as like emotes. Like if you have a song on it, like it'll have them playing it. I think I don't know. I've seen people use it as like the singing one, but I don't know if they can do it for
apparently
those.
In the music they're also adding the Cantina song to the Rock Band.
Oh, that's
version.
awesome.
And then in the main mode, there's going to be like places on the map where stormtroopers are guarding Chewbacca, and if you kill all the stormtroopers and you release Chewbacca, then he'll like come on your team.
Oh, okay.
Also, his bowcaster apparently. whoever makes the decisions at LucasArts or at Lucasfilm or whatever, they love Chewbacca's bowcaster.
That thing's great.
They keep putting it in everything, everywhere. There was in the movie, Han Solo used it, and he's like, wow, this is amazing. Why didn't we use this the whole time? And I'm just like, all right, you guys, it's fucking one gun. Like,
bowcasters, man.
So, yeah. There's also going to be some Star Wars themed car parts and skins for the racing thing.
Oh, okay.
So they're just going all whole hog for Star Wars. But that's nothing real new. They've done that a lot.
It's just a shame that there's still a lot of skins that like were Battle Pass related that you'll just never be able to get again that are Star Wars related.
Yeah, but some of those like come back, right? They come back onto the store.
Not really. Not the Battle Pass ones, at least.
Really?
Like you can't get the Mandalorian again. You can't get Darth Vader anymore.
Those would come from time to time. They would come onto the store.
You can get like a lot of the ones that they sold, like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin in them. But
I swear I saw Darth Vader on the store.
No, as far as I know, no.
Really? I'm not keeping up as much as you are.
It's only because I keep waiting for them to like. I just need a Spider-Man. Like I need another Spider-Man. But like, because I have the ones that you could buy, but like they'll never release that original, like that actual one.
Sure. We also got a teaser for Batman: Arkham Shadow, a brand new Batman game set in the Arkhamverse. Michael, are you excited? Are you excited about the Batman game?
I actually am a little excited, but not because of what it's on, but because Roger Craig Smith retweeted it. Oh, and he was the voice of the Arkham Origins one, and I really like that voice.
So yeah, it's a VR game. It's going to be on VR. I'll tell you what, what was the other thing? Oh, the company that's making it is called Camouflage, and they made like Republique, and they made a few other interesting. They made another VR game that I remember liking. Oh no, they made the Iron Man VR game.
Oh, then it's got a little potential then. Yeah, I did laugh though because I didn't realize I never actually saw the trailer itself. Yeah, but one of the tweets was like, "Oh, our Ratcatcher fans like unite," and it's just like an empty room.
Yeah, because there's like a bunch of evil rats.
Yeah.
Let's see. There weren't a lot of. I usually after the trailers I like to put like release date stuff, but there wasn't a lot of it.
No, there wasn't a lot this time.
The voice actor for what's his face, the Phoenix Kid in Gears of War. What's his name?
I don't even know his name.
JD Phoenix.
Okay.
Somebody asked about like when the next Gears of War was going to be talked about, and he responded, "I have no idea. I think at Gears of War tells us all in June." Or no, that's his character was still alive, and then he answered with that. June obviously is when Xbox is having their thing. Yeah. It's all but confirmed that we're going to see a new Gears of War. Nobody have a heart attack when you see a new Gears of War.
Turns out it's a VR game.
It's all just well, Xbox doesn't have a VR.
Yeah, well, that's why it would be such a surprise.
It's so surprising.
It's going to be a MetaQuest 3 exclusive game.
Returnal is putting out a graphic novel and an art book for their anniversary.
Oh, that's fun.
The comic is called Fallen Asteria, and there's like a 240-page art book. They're both coming out in October, which is like the 2-year anniversary, I think, of Returnal.
I keep forgetting that game is that old.
Yeah, the game I was so excited, and then I was so not excited.
It made a splash for like half a second, and then everybody forgot about it, and that's because it was just not worth it.
Not really.
Which is a shame because we were all excited for it.
The People Can Fly continues to have bad luck. They had a project that was called Project Dagger that they were working on for a little while, and they've shopped it around, and they showed it to people, and they worked on it, and they worked on it. It's now been canceled because apparently they just couldn't get it to be fun.
Yeah.
So
another investor issue.
I'm confused at why People Can Fly still exists. Like,
yeah, I don't get it either.
I'm not saying that I want them to go under, but like it's just been like L after L for them between Outriders and like Outriders. That was like their last.
That was really the only game they made that wasn't the one that we all love.
I mean, maybe they got a big boost from that Bulletstorm VR and Bulletstorm.
That's right. There's the VR one
with Duke. Even though the Bulletstorm VR thing, just all the reviews were like, "It's terrible. Yeah, do not play it."
Everything. Because I got curious because I kept seeing ads for it. I'm like, you know what? I haven't heard anybody talk about this. And then when I Google it, it's because everybody fucking hated it when it came out.
Yep.
And I still play it every now and then, the original one, and then mostly because I like doing the story because it's a fun little story.
Sure.
And the Duke version of it's really funny too because it's just him, like the story plays out as normal, but he's like just confused because he doesn't know what's happening.
Yep. All right, let's finish up with a few fun things. some fucking crazy mad asshole made a mod for Skyrim that lets. Okay, so when he's playing Skyrim and he goes up to an NPC, this mod will hook that will take one of the people in his Twitch chat, take that name, hook it to the NPC, and then whatever that person types in chat, that NPC will say via AI with lip sync.
Oh my god, that's horrifying and amazing.
I watched a little bit of it. It was pretty funny. It doesn't work without sound because, but it was really an interesting concept. The other thing that he did, which I thought was amazing, was if he kills that NPC, it then gives that person a 15-minute ban from Twitch.
Oh, really?
So
that's amazing. That's actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So like you would just be like, oh, what can I say to make him kill me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, like when he talks to that one Khajiit there, I remember that was I saw that part where he just goes to talk to that Khajiit. He's just like, hey, nice cock, man. So, yeah, this is Blurbs, the content creator. I recommend going and checking it out because it's pretty funny.
That's such a fun thing to do with your audience.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think it's a fun thing to do with your audience until anybody finds out about it. Like, then you're going to have to shut that shit down because there's going to be people trying to do, like, slurs and horrible shit, like, the whole time. You got to make sure it's, like, verified only.
Yeah, you're very dedicated fan base kind of thing.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of crazy shit, somebody made a Fallout, basically Fallout, but it's in Excel.
What?
So this is like a whole. Okay. Excel has a very powerful scripting in it, and so they're basically using the Excel spreadsheet as the map, and then a bunch of scripting as like inventory management and like encounter management and like experience points and stuff like that. So this is a full Fallout game that you could play in Excel.
That's so insane.
Unfortunately, you can only play it in actual Microsoft Excel. You can't play it in like LibreOffice or Google Sheets or anything like that.
Like you need I guess that makes some sense.
Yeah.
But the fact that they did that at all is insane.
It's pretty fucking nuts.
There's people playing that at work right now, probably.
Yep. Let's see. From there, speaking of crazy shit, this is all just crazy shit people made. Somebody made a Tetris on the Lego Ideas. Obviously, there's no way to make a Lego Tetris where the blocks disappear, so it's like more of a puzzle game. It's called like Tetris Solid, where you open it up and then like there's a little thing that you like. All the pieces are just loose, and then there's this little thing that you kind of push down, and like it'll tell you what the next block that you're supposed to put in is, and the whole point of it is to just build it as high as you can, and then you take these, like there's a score on the right hand side, so you take a little pip and you put it where you've managed to score, but it's like all these little tracks, and you just kind of, you know, you take your piece and you put it in and it falls down. It's an interesting take on Tetris. Like
it's a really fun idea, and like you said, you can't make it disappear, so like if you fuck up then you have to keep going.
And then apparently there's like a release button at the end that just like makes it all like fall back down into the tray.
That's
so
fun.
You can start over again. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting idea. They're putting that on the Lego Ideas where you can like vote if a thing gets made or not.
I hope it does. A lot of cool stuff has come out of that specific thing. Like that's how the Ghostbusters Legos became a thing. I think that's how the Sonic Legos became a thing. That's also how the weird ones have become a thing, like the Seinfeld one,
right,
and the Friends one, and the Office one. Yeah, people get really giddy about these things.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what some like this is some next ass level Lego shit. Yeah, like I couldn't make something like this. So but it's really interesting. Let's see what let me make sure I tell everybody what the channels are. The channel for this one was Victors_Art300.
Okay.
So, yeah, go support them maybe if you like.
Good on them for being able to bake something like that.
And last but not least, when it comes to Legos, somebody did something really fun, Michael. Somebody named Lego Crow recreated the entire house building montage from Red Dead Redemption 2 in Lego.
Oh, wow.
So it's that whole sequence with the song and everything where they build the house.
Oh, that's fun.
But it's just with like Lego guys.
I'm a big fan of people who do shit like this.
Yeah, me too.
There's one guy I follow on Instagram who he's been making a lot of It's Always Sunny ones. He just came out with a new one.
Wait, I might have seen that. What was the new one?
It's the where Dennis loses his shit when they're in the suburbs.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
Apparently, it came out like as we were recording. I think so. I might look it up later. But yeah, that guy makes a lot of those, and those are fun. I love when people do that because when they do that, like you can get some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
and it's helped a lot of people's stuff. Like there's that one 14-year-old he got hired to animate the Spider-Verse Lego sequence because of him doing that himself too.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but this one is really solid. It's really good. Like I like it too because they don't cheat with anything that's not Lego. It's all Lego except for like the light and the water.
Yeah,
during the rain. So they even have a little montage at the end where he puts it together like a Lego guy.
I love that.
In the game.
That's so cool.
So yeah, it's pretty fun. And that's it. It's a podcast. Like we came in under time.
Yeah.
We're 5 minutes under.
Which is crazy as shit.
Holy crap.
You want to talk about gigantic asses?
I've seen things turn you white. No, I think I'm done with the giant asses. I beat that game.
You did, yes.
You know what? Here, let's do an old throwback of RageSelect. Stellar Blade, really consistent frame rate, really good graphics. The story is very derivative of the Nier games, except it's not as deep. But then Nier wanted you to play that game 3 times over again.
Yeah, that's true.
And I had to be convinced to do that it was worth it. So it's like one shot, and you could honestly put the game on easy, or you could.
Does it have alternate endings?
It does. It has 3 alternate endings. And it's interesting because I looked them up to be like, what is the good ending? And it's like, well, they're all ambiguous. They have very ambiguous endings. So one of them is kind of better than others, but it's really more of a question of you get presented all the facts in the game, and then the question at the end is like, so what do you think? And it's like there's not a clear yes or no here.
It's pretty much what you think is we would think is a better ending, I guess.
It's very much set up for a sequel. In fact, it ends with a very then their story is continued, not a the end. It's very open, open ended. Combat is good. It's like Sekiro or Devil May Cry, but it's not as demanding as Sekiro. So you can do the kind of reversal stuff, and I'm sure that if you were really good at the game, you'd take off all the clothing, go with the skin suit, never upgrade, level 1 challenge run. But it's the voice acting is not great. It's a little subpar. The characters are a little wooden. Some of this could be cultural, since it's it's a Korean developed game.
That's true, yeah.
In fact, the voice actress for Eve was the same. She played. I don't know if you've ever seen. There's a bard. I think I said this on the video.
You
right?
did, yeah.
There's the bard in Baldur's Gate 3. That's the purple tiefling lady, and she was very ebullient and had a lot of joyful emotions. So I know that voice actor
that can do it.
Do it. It's just that the character obviously. It's unclear to me whether the character was supposed to have very suppressed emotions or if that was supposed to be a thing in the story. I didn't read every single thing that happened. But ton of exploration, mini games, combat, upgrades. It was fun in the hands. There were some quality of life problems that I went over on the video. But all in all, I'd probably give it a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's one of those games that I feel like you start playing it and you're just like, I don't know. And then you look up and you're just like, shit, has it been 3 hours already? Oh, fuck. I got to the point where I was kind of at the halfway point of the game, and I was like, well, I've already done 60% of this sub quest and 70% of this side quest. I might as well just open up a spreadsheet and fucking do everything.
Oh, okay.
But even then, I didn't find everything. There's a new game plus mode that you can go through like we did on the dojo and just mop the floor with people, or there's a hard mode that makes it really difficult. There's going to be a boss rush option coming soon. The developer said there's going to be some new costumes. Hey, you know what? You can do a lot worse than fucking Stellar Blade.
That's true.
I've played way worse games of Stellar Blade, and as long as the rest of this bullshit doesn't matter to you, the controversy and the asses and like, if you look at the way that Eve is in an outfit and you're not just like horrified, like it's probably a fun game to play. Like, especially if you're a fan of Bayonetta or Nier, or even I would say maybe Devil May Cry, because it plays a lot like a very twitchy kind of fast like reflex. What would you call Devil May Cry or those types of games?
Just
like
stylish character action, really.
Stylish character action would be a perfect description of that game. Also, again, big props. No performance issues that I could see. There wasn't like character pop in or a lot of slowdown that happened.
Which is a lot nowadays, to be honest. A lot of games have issues with that, which is kind of a pain in the ass.
I was playing it at 4K with HDR turned on. It looked fantastic the entire time. Yeah, I mean, outside of a couple of quality of life things, some acting problems, and the fact that the story is like the problem, of course, with the story is that when you're kind of taking from Nier Automata, but you're not as good as Yoko Taro. You haven't had like 25 years worth of dumbass, obtuse storytelling experience, and you end up with just kind of a regular ass story instead of like some kind of mind blowing bullshit that like, part of the story of Nier is an opera.
That's true, yeah.
And like the end of that story is the gacha game from phones. Like the Nier story technically ends with the last season of the gacha game on phones. Like that dude is crazy. That dude is fucking nuts.
Like that there's a lot of things that happen in all the subsequent playthroughs that are just so batshit insane that you would not see in any other game.
Yep. So yeah, I think it's a solid video game, and if it goes on sale or if it's ever on PS Plus, if you don't want to pay a full $70 for it, I think it's well worth your time. It's here's the other thing. The reason I kept playing it. The other reason I kept playing it. Ooh, I love when games do this. It had a great curve. Like it kept giving me AP points to put into new skills that then would change the entire way that I played the game.
Oh, okay.
And then here's a gun. Oh, I just upgraded the gun, so now I have shotgun bullets. Well, that changes everything. Shotgun bullets mean I can stagger people a lot like easier. I can, like, if a guy goes to do an unblockable attack and I don't feel like my dodge timing is good, I can just shoot him in the face with a shotgun, right? Or like, oh, I unlocked a new slot of in my beta powers. Like, it was just very fun to play, and it in a lot of ways it makes me sad that it's gotten so mired in this dumbass online bullshit, because it's like, I think that it's probably like, I don't know what this year is going to look like, Michael, but it's very much a game that I could see like Evil West or something like that. That like when I do my top 10, it could be, I don't think it'll be in the top 5, but it could definitely be in the 5 through 10 place of just like, love that game, played the hell out of it. I can't stop thinking about it type of thing.
We'll see how the year goes is the main thing with it. It could actually be one of the only other super good games this year.
Who knows? Yeah. Maybe it's the game of the year.
That would be really funny if Stellar Blade won game of the year somehow.
Yeah. So, Michael, why don't you tell them where they can find you when you're not over here doing this shit with me?
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie, television reviews. I review for The Fall Guys up now, so you can go ahead and listen to that.
Cool. Yeah, and you already know where to listen to the Rage Select podcast. I don't have to tell you because you're here listening to it.
Maybe you stumbled on it. I don't know how you did that.
Patreon.com/Rage Select. Maybe. Yeah, the YouTube algorithm is weird. Oh, God, what if all the fucking weirdos come? Don't come here, weirdos. If I say, don't come here, don't come here, don't come here.
Don't say that, because then they're going to show up randomly.
No.
Or they're going to jerk off and come, but that's a different thing.
No, I don't want them here. Just go. We don't. No, that's all right. It's fine. Just go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Oh, God. Please don't let them come here. All right. Now I'm living in fear. So thanks for that, the internet. Bye.